Champions League Final, the MLB All-Star Game, the World Series, the Pac-12 Championship, the Big Ten Championship, the NFC Playoffs, and the Daytona 500. The world's biggest events are on Fox Sports.
Welcome to the Budweiser pregame show. Show on Fox. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. We are in Boston, and after finally getting a win, the fans on Yawkey Way have a little spring in their step as the Sox continue a weekend battle with their arch rival. You know, it's never too early to check the standings, and what you see on the Green Monster has the fans feeling a little blue. 1-6 and sharing the basement in the division. Both A-Rod and Dustin Pedroia went deep in the home opener at Fenway on Friday. In fact, Pedroia had 3 hits, and Terry Francona said he gave us a huge lift. And with that, hi everybody. We welcome you to another live edition of Fox Saturday Baseball from Boston, where things haven't exactly gone as scripted so far. In fact, fans are wondering 1-6 after 7 games, but the eternal optimist says, you know what? We are unbeaten at home. See if that streak continues against the Yankees. Most of you are staying right here at Fenway Park. The rest we're going to send down to Atlanta for an NL East battle. Ryan Howard off to a great start. So too is Brian McCann, the svelte catcher with the robust .433 average. Now, back here in Boston, the Red Sox were kind of the chic pick to win it all before the season started. However, they didn't pick up win number 1 until their 7th game. The batting average is low, the team ERA is high, and after an 0-6 start, tempers were hot.
The Rangers have swept the Red Sox.
They lose to the Cleveland Indians.
Embarrassing way to lose. Boston Red Sox have lost 6 in a row to start the season.
You know, we're frustrated as hell because we never thought we'd be here, but we are here, so we got to deal with it.
Victor Martinez and Beltray, maybe they should have kept them two instead of Crawford and Gonzalez. What have they done?
The Red Sox are victims of their own lofty expectations.
These guys should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm frustrated. We all went to bed at 3 o'clock, man. You think we don't just put our head on the pillow at 11:30 and go to sleep and say, oh, everything's great. We got 15 All-Stars or whatever the hell we got on the team. That's not how it is, man. This is our lives, you know. We're going to get home right now, and my wife's going to look at me and say, you're 0-6, you guys stink. You know, we all bring this home with us, man. We care, so we'll figure it out. We have to.
For more, we welcome in FoxSports.com senior writer Ken Rosenthal, who wrote a column on Thursday saying, Nation, do not panic. However, it's never too early for a little clubhouse chat, right?
No, it's not, Chris. And the Red Sox actually had a meeting before yesterday's game. Terry Francona spoke, as you might expect. But the GM, Theo Epstein, also gave a brief talk, and that was a surprise. By all accounts, Theo was impassioned. He was eloquent. His message, this is a great team. We've got your back. Ignore the negative and just go play.
The other big news in baseball, Manny Ramirez, who spent 8 seasons in Boston, called it quits yesterday after 6 games with the Rays. He had reportedly tested positive for a second time for a performance-enhancing drug. So instead of facing a 100-game suspension, he hangs up his cleats. Now, Kenny, you have a Hall of Fame vote when he's on the ballot. Yay or nay for Manny?
Right now, nay, Chris. But keep in mind, he's not on the ballot for 5 years. And after that, he'll be on the ballot for 15 years as long as he keeps getting the minimum amount required. So, the real question is, what happened here? Well, 2 positive tests after Major League Baseball implemented drug testing Heaven knows what he was doing before they started that, so he faces a really uphill fight.
Obviously, the drug testing program is working thanks to Major League Baseball. Kenny will be over at the Red Sox dugout. I will be over on the Yankees side as we join Joe Buck and Tim McCarver. That means, Kenny, we're done talking to each other for the day. It's Rivalry Saturday, Ken.
Here we go.
That's it. Final words for us. We're getting ready for the Yankees and Red Sox from Fenway. The rest of you will see a key NL East battle between the Phillies and the Braves in Atlanta. First pitch, presented by Budweiser, is next.
But you're not going to get it. We're in New England. It is April, and it is the best rivalry in this sport. The New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, and it's yours today, right here on Fox. Get a program. You should know the names by now. There are a few new ones. But we welcome you inside the broadcast booth, and we are ready for baseball here today. I'm Joe Buck. Tim McCarver is coming right up. Well, it was getting a little testy around here at Fenway Park with the Boston Red Sox rolling home for their home opener with a record of 0-6. They got the win yesterday over the Yankees, and Tim McCarver, so many things went wrong on that opening road trip. A lot of things went right yesterday for the Boston Red Sox.
David Ortiz saying that all the Red Sox needed was for something positive to click, and yesterday 2 things positive clicked, the offense and the bullpen.
So many questions, Tim, about the back end of the starting rotation for the New York Yankees. Phil Hughes has had 2 poor starts. The velocity is down. He lost here yesterday. That means Ivan Nova today. You know, the Yankees are looking at him, and they need something big out of him this season.
I think baseball people referred to it as pyramiding pressure. With Phil Hughes, there is legitimate concern in the Yankee camp about his velocity. That means that the next guy in the rotation, Ivan Nova, there's a little extra pressure on him. They hope for big things out of him this year.
It's a beautiful day here at Fenway, and baseball's best rivalry. waiting, grab some buds. It is a beautiful day here at Fenway Park, and we get ready for this Saturday afternoon game. There's the temperature, 56, should get to around 60. And here is the Taco Bell starting lineup for the Yankees. Taco Bell think outside the bun. Brett Gardner leads it off. Then it's Jeter, Teixeira, A-Rod, Cano, Nick Swisher, Curtis Granderson, Eric Chavez gets the start at DH, and then Russell Martin is batting in the number 9 spot. And here are the numbers from Sunday against the Rangers. And Buchholz, he only gave 5 hits, but 4 of them were solo home runs.
Clay Buchholz off a great year. He was 17-7 last year. He has to pitch downhill. That means try to keep the ball down. And keep in mind, Jared Saltalamacchia not only has the longest name in the history of Major League Baseball.
You even forgot an Saltalamacchia.
Saltalamacchia. Yeah, I forgot the la. But anyway, Jared is 6'4", and in order for him to get down, he uses unusual methods, sticking that right leg out and almost on the ground.
First pitch is a ball outside and underway on this great day. It's Gardner, Jeter, then Teixeira, the top 3 in the lineup for the Yankees, who have started this season 4-3. Boston off to that 0-6 start, and now they got their first win here yesterday, and that's a strike. Derek Jeter is next, and then Teixeira. Ball and a strike, and Clay Buchholz, who was a 17-game winner from a year ago, is ready with his 3rd pitch of the day, and it's on the inside corner, strike 2. 94, he's got good zip, and he's got a great changeup. And that's really the question for Buchholz, dealing with left-handed batters, and it's such a good equalizer. He hides it well, he disguises the pitch, and that is typically his out delivery. Here's a 1-2. Easy for the shortstop, Lowry. 1 away. Lowry gets the start today as Marcos Scudero, who's off to a rough start with a bat, is on the bench. And here comes Jeter. Nice Saturday afternoon welcome for Derek Jeter here at Fenway Park.
Derek having his first major league hit 16 years ago off Tim Belcher. Tim Belcher, now the pitching coach for the Cleveland Indians, a team against whom the Red Sox lost 3 in a row last week.
And now 68 hits shy of 3,000 in his career, and there's a good fastball for strike 1. Buchholz is a guy who came up in 2007 through a no-hitter in his 2nd appearance in the big leagues, and then started to bounce around back and forth, up and down with the big league club, AAA club, and he put it all together last year, his first full year in the big leagues. Good pitch on the outside corner, and that's 2 quick strikes on Jeter, who's off to a slow start.
Good breaking ball from Buchholz. That's a major league curveball right there. Buchholz in the early going, showing he's got good stuff this afternoon.
Buchholz with a buckler. And the count 0-2. Teixeira will follow, and he is off to a great start. That's fouled and still an 0-2 count.
That's what they call it in Lumberton, Texas. A Buchholz buckler.
You got a chance to even talk to Clay Buchholz yesterday.
I did.
And Ivan Nova.
He's from Lumberton, Texas, is Buchholz. That's right near the Louisiana state line, a little town of about 8,000 people. Went to McNeese State for a year, then went to a local junior college. He is the real deal. Proved that last year with that 17-7 record.
Kenny Rosenthal with us today. Is he here?
Yes, sir.
Check in with Kenny at some point here in this first inning. I think. That's outside and a ball. Interesting story you had in your notes today, Kenny, about Clay Buchholz.
Joe, he is a terrific example of how a young player can mature. This is a kid who was arrested in 2004 for stealing 29 laptops with a friend from his local middle school. But when the Red Sox drafted him a few years later, he looked club officials right in the eye and said, listen, that is not who I am. He took him at his word, and here he is.
And he's just been getting better with age, and the crowd here at Fenway likes this as it rides Jeter right off the plate.
Well, you talk about the Buchholz buckler, that curveball, that fastball up and in on Derek Jeter. That is to open up the outside part of the plate. That's all in a day's work for a good major league pitcher.
They set up back inside, and it's fouled off to the left. Even back when you were playing, they were doing up and in, down and away, but that was too straight on the inside part or just off, and Jeter got it off his knuckles and fouled it away.
Well, the best time to jam a hitter, particularly a hitter like Jeter, is with 2 strikes. It's like a fastball away. He's shaking all those off, and here comes a changeup. Nope, a cutter.
And it misses, so it was 0-2. Now 3-2 on the number 2 hitter. Jeter with Teixeira, who's off to a good start power-wise, waiting on deck. Saltalamacchia in his first year up with a big club here with the Red Sox. Got a little taste of it last year, but he is the guy behind the plate. And it's a 1-out walk. Had to appeal to Mike Winters, the crew chief, down at first base, and no swing to make it 1-on, 1-out for Mark Teixeira. Here is the defense and their alignment for Boston, brought to you by Scott's. No surprises except maybe that Jed Lowry gets to start at short. Otherwise typical. Pedroia at second, Gonzalez at first, Saltalamacchia behind the plate, and the typical outfield alignment with Ellsbury in center. Teixeira takes the ball. There is a difference for Buchholz and why he put it together last year. His manager Terry Francona said the game just started to slow down for this excitable right-hander. He likes to fidget. It's constant motion, and when he started to cut some of that out, the results were better for this 26-year-old right-hander. Here comes a 1-0. Inside corner, good pitch, a ball and a strike.
Increased confidence, and also Terry Francona telling us that Clay Buchholz last year learned how to throw the ground ball consistently when he needed it, and he needs one right here at somebody.
Infield is deep, and they play Teixeira to pull it. And a check on Jeter, who has yet to attempt a steal here in 2011. And it's obvious that the offseason work that Teixeira did is paid off production-wise. When you look at his April this year compared to last year, really his first 2 with the Yankees. There goes Jeter. Saltalamacchia got it. 2 out. Only the second runner caught stealing by Saltalamacchia.
This is the best throw that Saltalamacchia has made this year for the Red Sox. Working very hard during the offseason. Good slap tag by Jed Lowry, the shortstop, and Jeter's out, barely. Saltalamacchia on a curveball, a tough pitch to handle, tough pitch off of which to throw, gets his man.
And now with 2 out, Teixeira takes a strike to make the count 2-2. Don't know if we'll have time, but I thought it was interesting the conversation you had with Francona about the work that Saltalamacchia did with Gary Tuck, the catching instructor for the Red Sox, and the overall approach with trying to throw out base stealers. Here's a 2-2.
Terry saying that the first thing that a catcher has to be is conscientious, and Saltalamacchia is certainly that, trying to learn from Gary Tuck about what it takes to be a major league catcher and the thinking that goes along with it. A lot of times the things you can't see are the most important, is communication with his pitcher, for instance.
And to just relax, almost slow down as you're throwing out a runner. You have to hurry the process, but not to get too jumpy because the throw goes all over the place. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody on here in the first inning for the Yankees. Red Sox won here yesterday 9-6 and a strikeout on a changeup. Good start for Buck Holtz. Good work by Salt Tulamaki. No score after a half. Nova, here's the starting lineup for the Boston Red Sox, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. It's Crawford, Pedroia, Gonzalez, the top three. Euclid, Ortiz, and Drew, then Lowry, Saltalamacchia, and Jacoby Ellsbury, who started the season leading off, is batting in the 9 spot. He has struggled so far this season. There's the first start for Ivan Nova. And here is a free scouting report from Tim McCarver.
6'4", 225 pounds. He's a very confident young man. One of 5 boys in his family. He's next to youngest, but a very confident guy. And his 4 brothers call almost every day, and they call separately. So they are watching via satellite in San Cristobal in the Dominican Republic this afternoon.
So he's the 4th of 5 brothers, and he's the 4th starter for the New York Yankees.
Yeah, 4's his lucky number.
And he wears 47 because they won't allow him to wear 4.
No.
Here is Crawford. That's been retired.
Yes.
Pitch is outside, and we're underway in the bottom of the first inning. Here the umpires, Chris Guccione, works the plate with Winters at first. He's highlighted. He's the crew chief. Then Everett and Mark Wegner. There's a strike. Carl Crawford in his first season with the Red Sox, one of the 2 big additions to this club from a year ago, is off to a slow start. Hitting just 143, and he is hit already in 4 spots in this lineup. That is in the air to right, sending Swisher back in front of the track, 1 out. And here are the 4 keys to the game.
Most important thing for both teams, for the Yankees, get innings out of Nova. After that dreadful start by Phil Hughes yesterday, going only 2 innings. And then for the Red Sox, try to get Carl Crawford going. Batting in the leadoff spot this afternoon once again.
Here is Pedroia, who Terry Francona wants to bat in the number 2 spot and just leave him there. Former MVP in the American League back in 08, takes a strike. Last year had a fractured left foot, which he suffered in June. And he was gone the rest of the year. There's a strike. The count 0-2.
And the Red Sox tell us that the screw that they put in the left foot of Dustin Pedroia is still in there. The doctors want it in there until the end of this year. In fact, it's given him some problems this spring training.
I know you like watching the body language, the facial expressions, and everything that Dustin Pedroia brings to the park.
I mean, what's not to like? I mean, this guy, not only a likable young man, but loves to play the game. He's Jeter-like in that regard. Both of those guys love to play the game, and he's got to be hurt a lot to get out of the lineup. It's got to be a broken bone or something of that ilk.
Yeah, but Jeter hides whatever's flowing through his veins, meaning his intensity.
Yeah.
He kind of puts away.
Not
Pedroia,
this guy.
It's all over. 2-2. You go back to Thursday at the end of that road trip. I don't think we've ever seen Derek Jeter do that.
No.
That was in that 1-0 Indians win. That is just off the outside corner. Nova wanted it, didn't get it, and the count's full.
Nova just missing with the fastball. It wasn't low. Home plate umpire said it was outside, and it appeared to be outside.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on, with Adrian Gonzalez on deck. Pedroia takes a walk. Take a look at the defense for the Yankees. It's brought to you by Scott's. Gardner is in left, Granderson in center, Swisher in right. Around the infield, A-Rod, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira. And the catcher is Russell Martin. Off to an impressive start in his first year with the Yankees with Nova on the hill. There's the 46-year-old manager in his 4th year, Joe Girardi. He won it all back in 2009 in his 2nd season. Won 3 rings as a player with the Yankees. And here is Adrian Gonzalez. 1 on, 1 out. Ball 1 outside.
Yesterday, the Yankees employed the shift on Gonzalez, but today, with the runner on at first base, no shift. This is the normal alignment for most left-handed hitters. Gonzalez with a single to left field, and then he bunted yesterday for a base hit.
Here's a 1-0 inside. Take a look at the 2 big additions for this Red Sox team. Carl Crawford, he has just 4 hits. He's stolen a couple. He is that rare combination of power and speed. He struggled. Adrian Gonzalez has not. Has the 1 home run, and his average is over 320. Now the count's 3-0 from Nova. Crawford flied out to right to start this first. Euclid on deck. Red Sox trying to get healthy against the Yankees.
See if Terry Francona turns Gonzalez loose. Young pitcher, experienced hitter.
And it's a 4-pitch walk. Robinson Cano comes in to talk to Nova. Kevin Euclid digs his way in, and he's hitting just a 100. 2 for 20. Pedroia, the lead man, out at second. And a strike. A lot of the things we said about Pedroia you can say about Euclid. And it has always impressed the two of us that no matter where you put him, defensively, he has always hit. With 2 on. Strike 2.
Yeah, Joe, you can look at it this way. Kevin Euclid gets an assist in the Adrian Gonzalez trade. The Red Sox traded for Adrian Gonzalez. They put him at first base knowing that Kevin Euclid is not quite as good at third as he is at first, but almost. Very, very valuable property is Kevin Euclid because of his flexibility.
Here is an 0-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Maybe a foul tip hung on to by Russell Martin. 2 out.
Last year after the season, Ivan Nova went down to Tampa to work with Billy Connors. He worked on that pitch right there and finger pressure. The slider to get Euclid, a big strikeout here in the first inning.
And now Ortiz.
Billy Connors, by the way, has been with the Yankees, one of George Steinbrenner's favorite guys, and he is the guru for the Yankees, where they send younger pitchers having problems, older pitchers having problems. They send him to their man, Billy Connors, down in Florida, and he is a good one.
David Ortiz had a brutal month of April last year, and it looked like he may be finished. There's a strike on a swing and a miss. But Ortiz put it together and had another year where he hit 30, drove in 100. But in the month of April in 09 and then last season, 38 games, 1 home run. He went deep in each of the first 2 games here in 2011 when the Red Sox opened up at Texas. Here is an 0-1. Strike 2 and good velocity from Nova.
Good fastball. He just blows this one right by Ortiz.
And I think you have to come right at David Ortiz.
Yeah. If there's anybody in the American League that you don't want to toy with the breaking ball, change up to off-speed stuff, it's David Ortiz.
Back-to-back walks after the first out. Now there are 2 out. And the 0-2 pitch from Nova. Inside, maybe a little down. Red Sox picked up an option to bring Ortiz back. This is a very left-handed heavy lineup that the Red Sox throw out there, and another lefty, J.D. Drew, on deck. Here is a 1-2. A little up, 2-2.
Terry Francona said, Joe, you're right. We are left-handed, but I'd rather be left-handed than right-handed because there are more right-handed pitchers than left-handed.
And Francona was a left-handed hitter.
Right.
So he actually is left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And he is in his 8th year managing the Red Sox, 2-time world champion. Here's a 2-2. In the air to left. Won't carry, and Gardner comes on to end the inning. 2 walks, 2 left. Who's coming up? A-Rod, and then Cano, and then Swisher. After 1 at Fenway, no score. Budweiser is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. So a matchup of these 2 young right-handers, Buchholz and Nova. And Buchholz here in the 2nd will deal with Rodriguez, Cano, and Swisher. If anybody gets on, Curtis Granderson. Alex Rodriguez is off to a great start. He's now a couple of years removed from that hip surgery. We'll check in with Ken Rosenthal. I say that, I love to say that and look down at him down at the end of the dugout. His microphone comes up in the ready position. Pitch one is inside for ball one.
That microphone almost level with that bow tie, huh, Ken?
Yep, it is.
Okay, I think he did a better job this week tying that thing.
Yes, he did.
Joe, I literally had to look in the mirror and make some adjustments.
Here is a 1-0 pitch. That's foul. Ripped, but foul. You did some digging about that hip injury, surgery, and the recovery for Alex Rodriguez, Ken.
Right, Joe. When I asked A-Rod about his hip in spring training, he said, hey, listen, I don't know the medical ins and outs. Call my doctor, Mark Philippine. Well, Philippine gave a glowing report saying that A-Rod has better hip rotation than he has ever had. This enables him to generate more power. Philippine told me that even when A-Rod was younger, Joe, he had an impingement in his hip. Now he has a normal, smooth rotation. There's no catch. And guys, it seems we're seeing the results.
He's off to the good start. He's number 6 on the all-time list with 616 home runs. He went deep into the seats above the Green Monster here yesterday. And he checks on the shortstop Lowry, kicks it, and Alex Rodriguez is on to start the second. Should be an error.
An infielder has to determine right away how the hop is going to be played, and that hop, it appeared, to play Jed Lowry. Laying back a little bit. That's a major league error right there.
And here's Cano. Robinson is a good hitter here at Fenway Park. He's a good hitter anyway. Doesn't matter where you play. He's 8 for 29 to start the year, but he is a career 362 hitter here at Fenway. Had a couple hits yesterday as Alex Rodriguez, who has yet to try to steal, draws the throw. There's the defense as they play Cano to pull in the outfield. Just a bit. About the last 10 at Fenway Park, hitting over 430. And this is a great park for doubles. That's into center. Well hit. Ellsbury will watch it clank off the wall. Going first to third is Rodriguez, and there is a double for Cano. Ball gets away momentarily, but it's an error and a double. Second and third, nobody out.
You, my friend, are a soothsayer.
Yeah. The half-voiced soothsayer.
Double comes out of your mouth, and double comes off the bat of Robinson Cano. Well, I'll tell you, the hitters in the American League talk about the freedom of his swing and how he swings through the ball and not to the ball. Robinson Cano, with one of the fastest set of hands in the major leagues, proved it again.
He sent Rodriguez to third, and here is that swing.
Lightning fast hands.
Pitch was up from Buchholz.
Nobody in the major leagues, to me, has the freedom of swinging through the ball that Robinson Cano does.
Brings in Swisher, second and third, nobody out. An error, then a double. And Buchholz is in trouble here in the second. Hold the string and a swinging strike. They're the numbers for Swisher last season, and the difference between him batting right-handed, where he hit just 4 of his 29 home runs, 25 of them batting from this side of the plate. Here's the 0-1. Ball and a strike. Swisher, who is really the high energy guy on this Yankee team, bats in front of Granderson, who had that big home opener and hasn't done much since. Here's a 1-1. To the right side, Pedroia will look at the runners, get the out, and the Yankees lead 1-0 and an RBI ground out by Swisher, his 6th RBI of the year.
Not only an RBI, but moving the runner to third base with nobody out. A good job by Swisher with the infield back. The Yankees get a cheap run as A-Rod scores and Cano moves to third.
And it brings in Granderson. Cano at third base with only one out. Granderson has just 4 hits. And his only RBI came in the home opener, the season opener, in that 7th inning home run against the Tigers. Ball 1 inside. Infield comes in. Buchholz is ready with a 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. This is a Yankee lineup today that has Chavez at the DH spot. He's on deck. Posada gets the day off. He was hitless yesterday. Here's a 2-0. Good changeup. With a count 2-0, a changeup, and Granderson totally fooled. Here's a 2-1. Outside corner, 2-2.
That gives you an idea of how good a changeup Buchholz has. When you can double up your changeups, that means you've really got a good one. Granderson swinging at the first one, taking the second one.
We will visit with both managers during the course of this game. 2 of our favorites to talk to. That's down and in. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So a full count with Chavez on deck. Yankees have not produced a lot of runs without the aid of a home run so far through their first 7 games, and they've produced one here in the second. Look for another. 3-2. Outside, it's first and third with only 1 out. How about a DirecTV game break? Here's Chris Rose.
All right, Joe, down in Atlanta, everybody was wondering how in the world are the Phillies going to replace Jason Worth? Well, this guy, Ben Francisco, hitting .379 in the early going, and that drives in. Shane Victorino, 1-zip as they now head to the third. Remember to see every baseball game, most in HD. It's 1-800-DirecTV. Joe, Tim, back across the field to you.
All right, so the Phillies, who are hitting over .350 as a group, that was really going to be the big question mark coming into the season. At least they're out of the gates swinging the bats well. Here's Chavez, who has just 1 at bat as a Yankee. Good hitter in his time with the A's, and there's one into left. Off the green monster in to score is Cano. Holding at third on another Yankee double is Granderson. It's 2-0 here in the second. And Chavez didn't wait around long.
No, first start of the year. He was scheduled to start on Wednesday night when the Yankees were scheduled to play the Minnesota Twins. That game was rained out. And he picks a fastball going away. He goes away for the second double in the inning. And the Yankees are up 2-0. So Eric Chavez is first hit in pinstripes, even though they do not wear the pinstripes on the road.
No, they don't, but it kind of still works.
Yeah, it still sounds good.
A visit from the pitching coach, Kurt Young. And Buchholz is allowed 2 and has second and third with only 1 out. Rio is a movie that will bring the world to its feet this Friday. Rio. The world to its feet. You're part of the world, Tim. You will be on your feet on Friday.
On my feet.
Trudy Buck cannot wait to see Rio. That'll be part of next week. Second and third, only 1 out. And here's Russell Martin, who takes a pitch up and in, ball 1. It's okay to mention your kids.
So of course it is.
On air, right?
Absolutely.
And if you can't do that, then what do you have?
Come on.
Russell Martin, as a Yankee, is hitting .292. Had a .300 homestand in his initial 6 games with New York. Pitch was up, and Martin fouls it back. Strike one. Chavez might end up being a big addition to this club if he can stay healthy.
Hit over 400 in spring training. He is a professional hitter, and he proved that in his 12 years with the Oakland Athletics.
Here's a 1-1. Strike two.
Not only that, if you want to give Mark Teixeira a day off, you can put Chavez at first. You can put him at third, give A-Rod a day off. He could be a very valuable guy for the Yankees before this year is over.
He's a 6-time Gold Glove Award winner. He hasn't played a full season since '06. He's had a terrible run of injuries with his neck and back. But if that's behind him, then the Yankees have someone that can really help. Here's a 1-2, and that's inside 2-2.
Eric Chavez's last start, in fact, before this afternoon was May 20th of last year.
Has an RBI double in this second, and the batter is Martin, who has two sitting out there for him, and a count of 2-2. To the third baseman, Youkilis comes home. 2 out. And on a fielder's choice, a good aggressive play by Kevin Youkilis over at third.
The reason it was aggressive is Youkilis was back. The infield was not in, and determining the speed of the ball, very important. Youkilis says, well, this ball's hit sharply enough to go home. Curtis Granderson looking back. There's no sense in looking back. Go as hard as you can, because when you look back, it slows you down.
And it brings in Brett Gardner, top of the order here in the second, as the Yankees have pushed two across. They have 3 hits in the inning. A frame that started with an error by Alex Rodriguez here in the second. Gardner bounced out to short his first time up. And takes a strike.
When you're running on a play like that, you don't have to look back as Granderson did. See him look back right there? That slows you down. I'll tell you, if you look at the catcher, you'll find out whether there's going to be a play on you or not. If the catcher's ready to receive the ball's coming. Granderson out on a good play by Youkilis.
Runners on at first and second, 2 out, and here's an 0-1. Strike two. So far, the Yankees, with the top of their lineup, the top 2 spots, which has been Gardner and Jeter, have hit a combined .231 coming in. Gardner has just 5 hits and 22 at bats. Had a good first half last year. Was banged up in the second half, and now trying to get in a groove here at the start of 2011. Buchholz, helped out by Youkilis in the second, is ready eventually. Now he is with an 0-2. Got him looking. Second strikeout, and the inning is over. Gardner's not happy. Chavez was after his first start with the Yankees. RBI double. Bottom of the second, rolls in at Fenway. 2-0 New York. Baseball is presented by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. The statue of Ted Williams outside Fenway Park on a perfect day and a perfect start for the Red Sox. A first pitch base hit up the middle by J.D. Drew.
That is a place where Teddy Ballgame rarely hit a ball up the middle because of the shift. One of the early shifts, we talked earlier about Adrian Gonzalez, David Ortiz, the Yankees shifting against them. One of the first shifts in baseball was against Teddy Ballgame. The Williams shift.
Brings in Jed Lowry. Who ended up hitting 9 home runs last year after starting the season with mono. And he gets the start today. Switch hitting shortstop. And in a battle with Marco Scutaro, who was an Ironman last year, playing through a lot of injuries for Boston, struggling with the bat, so he's on the bench. 1-0. Strike one. 2-0 Yankees as they got 2 in the top of this second. And we came on the air talking about the importance of Ivan Nova. This is a huge piece of the puzzle. Nova in 2011 for the Yankees. Here's a 1-1. Line drive, base hit. And Drew, who had to go back to the bag, makes it into second. 2 on, nobody out.
It's always a tough base running play for the runner at first base when the ball is just off the second baseman's glove. So Drew retreating to first. Now the first base coach, Ron Johnson, telling him second, second, second. You can see Teixeira even decoying. And Drew beats the throw to second base.
So 2 on with nobody out. There's Ron Johnson, first base coach for Terry Francona, and here is Saltalamacchia. Strike one. There's a lot on this guy for the Boston Red Sox. They picked him up in a deal last year from the Rangers. Went to the minor leagues, came up at the end of the year. And beside having the longest last name in Major League Baseball history at 14 letters, good pickup by Russell Martin on a pitch in the dirt. The Red Sox really don't have a young up-and-coming catcher that's ready. So they need Saltalamacchia to settle in, switch hitting catcher, which is rare, and do a good job receiving this high-priced pitching staff for Terry Francona.
Aren't many major league teams who do have an up-and-coming catcher who throws well, blocks the ball well, and can hit a little bit.
Backup is Varitek, who was brought back on a 1-year deal. Here's a 1-1. Good rip. Strike two.
And you know what teams will say? I mean, how many times have you heard that mantra, Joe, that we don't care if you hit or not as long as you handle the pitching staff. And then, if you don't hit, you're gone.
Right.
It's like a shortstop. He's a great defensive shortstop. What he hits is gravy. Well, if he doesn't hit after the first month or two, see you later.
Here's a 1-2. And a strikeout for out number one. Second strikeout for Nova, and that comes at a good time with 2 on and nobody out. You can help make baseball moments kids will never forget. Go to ChevyBaseball.com to support youth baseball. Plus enter to win one of 4 trips to this year's All-Star game in Arizona and the keys to a new Chevrolet. So Saltalamacchia, who got off to that 0-for-10 start while the Texas Rangers were pounding Boston pitching, then finally got his first hit, went 1 for 11, strikes out here with 2 on, nobody out. The Red Sox rotation and staff that gave up 11 home runs in that opening 3-game sweep. A lot of Ian Kinsler and a lot of Nelson Cruz. Each guy homered in the first 3 games. Here is a 1-0 to Ellsbury and a pop-up. Left side and a long run. Gardner, nice catch. 2 on, 2 out. And there aren't a lot of left fielders that catch that ball.
No. A lot of left fielders don't have the speed to catch that ball. A sliding catch by Gardner. You can see Derek Jeter evidently run off by Brett. He got to that ball in a hurry. We talk about routes for wide receivers. That was a good route by a left fielder.
Direct. And here is Crawford, who is playing left field these days for the Boston Red Sox. 2 on with 2 out after it was 2 on with nobody out, ball 1. It's a small left field here at Fenway Park, but it's a weird left field because of the green monster and because of the room out there. It negates some of the speed that Crawford brings with him after starring all those years in Tampa Bay. He takes over, but low. It's 2-0. That said, on a ball that we just saw, these are probably 2 of the very few left fielders that could have gotten to that little pop-up off the bat of Jacoby Ellsbury. With 2 on, 2 out, here comes a 2-0 pitch from Nova. Good fastball, 93 miles per hour, 2-1. On deck is Pedroia. Leadoff base hit by Drew. Lowry got a line drive base hit. And Saltalamacchia struck out. Ellsbury fly to left. And the opposite way, Jeter goes to third and the tag for the out.
He did that in yesterday's ball game. How many times do you see a 6-5 put out 2 days in a row?
And a real good job here by Rodriguez to get backpedaling, apply the tag, and we'll take another look and see if he was out. 2-0 after 2. Back after this from your local Fox station. Derek Jeter first up for the Yankees here in the 3rd inning. Mark Teixeira Alex Rodriguez will follow against Clay Buchholz, who allowed 2 runs on 3 hits in the second. We will go back and look at that play at third base when we get a moment on that tag applied by Rodriguez to see if Drew was out. First pitch, a strike from Buchholz to Jeter, who walked and then was out stealing back in the first. What do you think? Was he out?
I think so. Initially, I thought he could have been safe.
In the air to right, and the man in question, J.D. Drew, is back to grab it. And here is Drew going into third.
You know, the interesting thing about this is Alex Rodriguez could have stepped on third base, but because he was backpedaling, he didn't know where third base was. So I think that shot right there of glove on shoe, he was out.
If it's on his shoe.
I think it was.
Call made by the third base umpire, Mark Wegner. And no argument after the play by J.D. Drew. With 1 out, here's Teixeira, takes a pitch inside, ball 1.
Or a guy who had a very good look also was third base coach Tim Bogar, and he had no argument with it either.
Teixeira struck out his first time. He's popped 4 home runs. 4 of his 6 hits. And a strike hits the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 home runs in the first 5 games, and it is a fast start for Teixeira, who hit 200 with 3 home runs 2 years ago, and last year his April was just brutal. Hit 136, 2 homers, 9 RBIs.
Mark tied with Nelson Cruz of the Rangers. They both have 4 home runs, but Cruz did it in the first 4 games for the Rangers.
Here is a 1-2 pitch from Buchholz. Hard hit. Gonzalez, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner. Nice play. 2 out.
That was a beauty by the soft hands of Adrian Gonzalez. Nice.
You got 2 of the best defensive third basemen on one team, and maybe the other guy that's in there in the running with him is on the other team, and Mark Teixeira, who just hit that ball. But Euclid, who's playing third base, is really good across the diamond at first. Here's Rodriguez, who takes the ball. A-Rod reached on an error by the shortstop Lowry his first time up. Buchholz is looking for his first perfect inning. He has 1-0. 2-0.
I think the first guy who showed that first base was not a position where you could just put anybody there was Keith Hernandez. I think Keith Hernandez, when he came to the New York Mets with the exposure that he had as a first baseman, showed how valuable defensive first base baseball could be. He was the best I've ever seen.
2 balls, no strikes. Rodriguez hops out. Tonight's Sprint Cup Series racing, which is delivered the pre-race show by Pizza Hut, and we'll talk more about that as we get into the middle innings here today. There's a strike on the inside corner. Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, who was in a pool, has his 3 drivers all primed and ready to go tonight. One of them was Hamlin. I remember that much.
Another was Edwards.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Me too. Hey, 2 out of 3. 667. Come on.
Counts 3-1 on Rodriguez.
You're too hard on yourself.
Tell me about it. Here is a 3-1 pitch and a base hit. Rodriguez off to a good start here in 2011. Chris Rose, you were in that meeting. Help us out. Who else does Girardi have?
Okay, now who did you say? I got
Hamlin.
Right.
And Edwards.
Martin Truex. Come on, Joe.
Truex.
Don't say you didn't start him this week.
I did not.
Tim, you didn't start Martin Truex this week?
No.
All
A
right.
lot to think about. I mean, you got the Yankees, Red Sox, NASCAR. You've got the Masters going on.
Hey, Girardi apparently in his fantasy league is getting it done. He's got 3 wins so far. Gets rewarded big time.
You know who else is getting it done? You with that information.
Well, it's
big time.
I pay attention to the silly stuff, Joe.
It's nice to have you here with us.
Just hanging out in center field. It's fun.
1 on, 2 out. The batter is Cano, who doubled and scored his first time up and takes the ball. Robinson Cano, who does not like it when people call him Robbie. Named after Jackie Robinson. And he is as good as you'll find in any lineup, either defensively or offensively, as a second baseman. That pitch is down and the count 2-0. Gold Glove Award winner last year. And a guy who loves to hit in this park.
2 years ago, Dustin Pedroia became the 5th second baseman in American League history to win an MVP. I think in the batter's box right now, you're looking at a guy who could be the 6th one of these years.
And the other 4 guys as second baseman are all in the Hall of Fame. Gehringer is on that list. Cano grounds 1, 2. Pedroia, and he can't make the play. Rodriguez will stop at second. It's 2 on with 2 out. And that should be a base hit for Robinson Cano. The other names on that list: Eddie Collins, Charlie Gehringer, Joe Gordon, and Nellie Fox. Then Pedroia, and the MVP from 08. Couldn't make that play diving to his left. So Cano is 2 for 2, and here is Nick Swisher, who grounded out in the second. But it was an RBI ground out. Alex Rodriguez, the lead man at second. Behind him is Cano at first. 2 out. And Buchholz brings it. Strike 1 on the inside corner. And they're the other American League second baseman to have won MVPs. Last guy to do it was Nellie Fox in 1959 before Pedroia did it in 08. That's outside. One ball, 1 strike. Talking about Dustin Pedroia, and he will lead it off for the Red Sox in the bottom of this third. Here comes a 1-1. Changeup. So you got a fastball at 93, a changeup at 82. And really the same action from Clay Buchholz, which makes that pitch so tough.
Same arm motion. A lot of times young pitchers will think that if they speed up their body on the delivery, that it's deceptive to a hitter. That's not true. You have to throw the changeup the same way you throw the fastball. Even grip it a little tighter.
Swisher looking for a 2-out RBI. Has driven in 6. And he takes outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A lot of improvements here at Fenway Park from a year ago, and 2 of them are staring at us in center field with 2 new video boards here at Fenway Park. Redone the concourses underneath, and
looks beautiful.
Yeah, they make this park look better every year, and that's saying a lot. Here's a 2-2 pitch. In the air to left center and should be handled. It's Ellsbury. And 2 are left. Yankees have left 4. We go to the bottom of the third. Petey, they call him Dustin Pedroia, coming up for Boston, down by 2. Next up, 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Red Sox, down by 2. As this game moves into the bottom of the third inning at Fenway Park. Beautiful day. And the first pitch rides inside from Ivan Nova, 92-mile-an-hour fastball, ball 1. Dustin Pedroia talked to us yesterday about the mood of the team after that 0-6 start. And there's one down the left field line. Pedroia will dig and make it into second with a double.
Doubles are spawned in the batter's box. If you run hard out of the batter's box, that means you're in a position to go to second and take the extra base once you get to first base. Pedroia running hard, puts himself in a position. See, he's busting it right out of the batter's box. Now you're in a position to go to second base, and he does so rather easily.
If we get a chance, if we get a foul ball, we'll play you what Dustin said about that 0-6 start and then the win yesterday. It's definitely worthwhile as Adrian Gonzalez takes a pitch up and away, ball 1. Adrian is a guy who played out in San Diego, which is a pitcher's ballpark. But he has always put up big home run numbers, and over the past few years, he has led the major leagues in home runs on the road. That's where he's done a lot of his damage. Park out in San Diego, Petco, is deep and tough to drive one out of. And since 06, all other stadiums, there are the numbers for Gonzalez.
Red Sox had been trying to trade for Gonzalez over the last year and a half, and they finally got their man with good power the other way and should be able to take advantage of that green monster in left field.
Here's a 2-0. And a 91-mile-an-hour fastball gets by his bat, 2-1. He would seem to have, talking about Adrian Gonzalez, the perfect swing for this ballpark.
Good power the other way and power to pull also.
Runner at second with nobody out, and Gonzalez fouls it back. Adrian walked his first time up. He's got power with his bat, and he's got control with his bat. And that's why the Red Sox have been surprised to see the Indians and now the Yankees yesterday put on a shift on the infield, playing Gonzalez to pull. 2-2 pitch is pulled to the right side. Cano makes the play. Over to third is Pedroia, who had this to say about the frustrating start for the Boston Red Sox.
I don't know, man. We care so much, you know. We know we have a lot of expectations with this team, and you know, we want to make sure we relax and play winning baseball, and make sure everybody, you know, does what they normally do. You know, when you try to do so well, you know, you come out of your element and do things that, you know, you're really not capable of doing. So, you know, I was just trying to get everybody relaxed and play the game they're normally playing.
He sets a great example with his intensity, the way he plays the game, as does the man at the plate, Kevin Youkilis, who is really frustrated. Now just 2 for 21 swinging the bat here at the start of the year. Red Sox have already stranded 4. Here's a 1-0. 2-0. And Youkilis, who stands right on top of the plate, gets a lot of that. Two balls, no strikes. A career .332 hitter with runners in scoring position. That's strike 1. Youkilis was quoted after that start of 0-6 saying he's the sole reason why the Red Sox are struggling to score runs. And that is not the case. He was not alone. Red Sox banged out 12 hits yesterday. They came into the game hitting .181 as a team, and it scored just 16 runs in 6 games. This is a loaded Boston Red Sox team. Here's a 2-1. 2-2.
That looks like a cut fastball from Ivan Nova. Euclid, a guy who does not go out of the strike zone to swing at many pitches, did then.
He was yelling at himself before his swing was over. The count 2-2. Here it is from Nova. And a ground ball to short. Red Sox are on the board. 2-1 on an RBI ground out by Euclid. And it brings in David Ortiz. Ortiz fly to left his first time up. Cano, who's playing shallow right, somehow gets enough on his throw to get it all the way to first. Red Sox get a run and trail 2-1 after 3.
Not supposed to be.
So we'll push that off to a little bit later. Here's Granderson. A little peek behind the curtain for all of our viewers on this fine Saturday. 4th inning, a 2-1 game, and Granderson, who walked and then was out at the plate, and a good play by Euclid back in that 2-run second, leads it off. Here comes a 1-0 from Buchholz. Good pitch in under the hands, and it's a 1-1-strike count. It's Granderson, then Chavez, then Russell Martin for the Yankees, who lead by 1. Good game, Buchholz and Nova. And the next from the Boston right-hander, as Granderson shows bunt and couldn't do anything with that pitch, and it's a called strike, strike 2. We're going to give you our interview with Terry Francona after Curtis Granderson does something here to begin the 4th. On 1-2, that's ball 2. Terry Francona, who is one of the most honest guys, Tim, you're going to find anywhere in Major League Baseball.
Abraham Lincoln honest.
And enjoyable for us to talk to from up here in the booth. That's coming your way. Here's a 2-2. Breaking ball is fouled off. I don't want to oversell the interview. I'm not saying it was Morley Safer-esque. It was kind of softball city, but I mean, how much are you going to ask from a guy who's down in the dugout doing his job as we bother him?
Yeah, you've heard of 60 minutes. Our interviews are 60 seconds.
Yeah, but groundbreaking sometimes. Watch out, Ken Rosenthal. Almost took his bow tie off. The count's still 2-2 as Granderson battles and tries to get on to start the fourth. Curtis has just 4 hits so far this season. And Buchholz brings home another. Check swing. Pretty good pitch. No appeal. Full count.
That was close both ways. Close to being a strike and close to being a swing.
It was neither.
'Twas neither.
According to the combination of Guccione and Wegner. Home plate umpire, third base umpire, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, we don't know. Wegner might have thought it was a swing, but he was never asked. That's fouled, backing out of play. Buchholz has walked 2, struck out 2, and allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. And a matchup, the finale of this 3-game set tomorrow night between Sabathia and Beckett. Here's a 3-2. Another foul, good at bat. Again, right at Ken Rosenthal.
We have not compared Curtis Granderson with last year. As far as his stance, he looks more spread. His legs look farther apart than they were last year.
Here is a 3-2 pitch. And a walk. Good battle there by Granderson. And our first question to Terry Francona was about what he's seeing from his right-hander Buchholz here today.
Well, you know, his stuff's good. He's left a couple balls over the plate. And, you know, as you guys have seen when you play the Yankees, you can't give them base runners, whether it's walks or extra outs. They usually come back to haunt you a little bit.
How much were you guys grinding after that 0-6 start?
A lot. Anytime you're trying to justify it, you know, or saying well, it's a week into the season, that means something's not going right. But, again, it's a long year, but that was a long week.
And that was a big win, I would take it, for you guys yesterday to let a little bit of the steam off. And the guy who seems to be front and center for you is Pedroia, who got that last rally started with a double.
Yeah, fortunately for us, he is front and center. He's kind of that little engine. He never quits, and he's a pretty special guy, and we're lucky to have him.
You like this team, or are you worried that you're too left-handed, or do you like what you have?
No, actually, we love this team. It hasn't been a very good week, but we like this team. We want to get into the grind and kind of show what we can do. We got a long way to go. We really do like this team.
Terry, thanks.
Okay, guys.
All right. Ken Rosenthal is with us, and little inspirational message from not only Terry Francona, Kenny, but General Manager Theo Epstein yesterday before the game.
That's right, Joe, and it's pretty unusual when a GM addresses the team like that, but Theo was passionate, he was eloquent, and basically he reinforced what Terry Francona just said. This is a really good team. They're going to be fine. The front office has their back. Just stay positive and play ball.
Here's a pitch on the inside corner to Chavez, who doubled for an RBI his first time. And that's strike 1. I like what Francona said during the week. When you're struggling, you see hitters go up there and try and go 3 for 1.
Yeah.
Meaning 3 hits in 1 at bat. It can't happen. You have to slow down and realize it is a long season. There's Theo, general manager of the Red Sox, as Granderson has the attention of Clay Buchholz. And you know Theo Epstein is wondering about the throwing of his catcher, Saltalamacchia. Saltalamacchia already has thrown out 1. That was Jeter back in the first. His second runner caught stealing, and now the attention for Buchholz has been diverted over to first base with Chavez at the plate.
One of the problems with Saltalamacchia as the catcher, he's 6'4", and it's not a position for players who are over 6 feet tall. You have to get down on balls. You have to block balls. You have to give low targets. And more importantly, the most important thing is when you're throwing, you have to be quick. And most guys who are 6'4", 6'5", are not quick. It takes them more time to get unlimbered and throw the ball to second base.
1 ball, 1 strike. Granderson's on his toes. He stays put. And that's strike 2.
Now that said, there are guys that are tall and quick in basketball, but not in baseball.
There are the numbers in the career of Granderson, who's got power and speed. And here comes a 1-2 pitch to Chavez. After a long look, Buchholz steps off. Granderson has 2 plate appearances. He's drawn 2 walks. He looks like he wants to go. Stays put, and a fight off. Foul ball off to the left by Chavez.
Good cut fastball in on the hands.
Chavez hops back in and waits for a 1-2 pitch. And a check, pretty close.
Good job
by Buchholz.
It's a good job by Buchholz, doing everything he can to keep Granderson close at first base.
The shadows start to creep toward home plate. With a count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here comes another to Chavez. And just inside. Right now it's the flags that are making their way toward the catcher's position. And here's that last pitch that barely missed, called ball 2. As Saltalamacchia tried to pull it back in. Granderson stays put, and here's another one into left. Back is Crawford. He'll play it off the wall. Going first to third is Granderson on another double by Eric Chavez. But Chavez is 2 for 2, a pair of doubles. And he is making the most of his first start this season.
It's the nature of the beast, or the monster in this particular case, here at Fenway Park. That's an out in any other ballpark. But here at Fenway, a wall ball double.
And Carl Crawford, who was in his first year in a Red Sox uniform and is playing left field, was out here at 10:30 in the morning yesterday. Getting a hang of playing that position. Now he was here a lot, obviously, as a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. But before the home opener, he wanted to get another feel, and that's on the inside corner for a strike to Russell Martin.
Yeah, this year, of course, he's playing 81 games here. In past years, he played 9 or 10 a year when he was a member of the Rays.
Second and third, nobody out. A walk, a double. And Russell Martin, who has played every game so far this season, playing in his 8th, takes a pitch down and away.
Joe Girardi telling us before the game that Russell Martin wanted to play. He even asked him, he said, I want to play 162 games.
And this is a guy who had hip and knee surgery.
Yeah. Joe said, nope, you're not going to do that. We can't afford that.
The other catcher is Francisco Cervelli, who's hurt, out with a broken foot. Gustavo Molina is the backup to Martin, and there's a shot down the line, gone. 3-run home run hit by Russell Martin. What a start he is off to, and that makes it 5-1 here in the third.
That looked like a cut fastball. That did not cut. Russell Martin looking away and hooks it down the left field line. No, it's a curveball, a hanging curveball to Martin, and he hooks it right below the AAA sign in left field, and you could see Buchholz. It's not a good reaction.
74-mile-an-hour curveball, and it stayed up enough. And here in the fourth, it's at third. It's a 3-run shot, and a strike is in at the knees to Brett Gardner. Gardner is 0 for 2.
That's what happens with those leadoff walks, too, Joe. It sets up multi-run innings.
And Russell Martin may get a chance to play 162 games if he's going to keep swinging it like this.
At least until the hot weather.
Until Cervelli comes back.
Yeah.
To give him a chance to catch a break. And Russell Martin, who's been through a lot physically and was an Iron Man when he was with the Dodgers, a lot of innings, caught with LA, is really off to a good start with New York. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gardner, and we'll check in with Ken Rosenthal for more on Russell Martin here in the top of the 4th inning. 5-1, Yankees on top. That's ball 2. Kenny?
Well, Joe, it's interesting with Russell Martin. The Dodgers did not offer him a contract, and his tenure there didn't end all that well. Yes, he had the injuries, but basically he had stopped listening to the staff. They felt he had perhaps gotten too comfortable, and of course he had 2 poor offensive seasons. Well, here with the Yankees, it's a wake-up call, and obviously it's looking good so far.
That was a wake-up for Buchholz, who made the play on a ball hit right back at him off the bat of Gardner. 1 out.
Yeah, the Yankees signed Russell Martin relatively cheaply, $4 million, a 1-year deal. And so far, through the first 8 games, he has done very, very well.
Brings in Jeter with 1 out, nobody on, 3 runs home. A walk, a double, a 3-run shot. And Jeter off to a .222 start. Strike 1. Yankees came into camp anxious to see what Jesus Montero would do, their young catcher, who is one of the prizes of this farm system for New York. They also have Austin Romine, who is catching at AA because they have 2 good young catchers. And here's another one back at Buchholz, and this one is by him and into center for a 1-out hit. 1 on, 1 out in today's game, presented by Budweiser, is sponsored by the all-new 100% reinvented Ford Explorer. Drive one. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB. And here comes Kurt Young as Buchholz is up over 80 pitches as he works here in the 4th. And action starts with Dubront, a left-hander, getting loose. He was just called up as the Red Sox cut Dennis Reyes loose. So after winning the opener here yesterday, the Red Sox trail by 4 in the 4th inning, and the batter is Teixeira, who's 0 for 2. 6 out of 27 to start the season. And a fly ball into right. Drifting to it is Drew, 2 out. Derek Jeter is on his way to 3,000 hits. He has 2,933 hits. And this is a Sgt. Pepper's takeoff and a tribute, as you see the other 27 who have gotten there, and Derek Jeter is knocking on the door, 67 hits away.
By the way, of those 27 major leaguers with 3,000 hits, only one had considerable time behind the plate, and that's Craig Biggio. The only other one of those 27 that had time, any time behind the plate, Cap Anson caught 105 games.
A-Rod at the plate takes a ball down and away.
Greg Biggio had to switch to second base, played some center field for the Houston Astros.
Alex Rodriguez homered here yesterday. And on the all-time RBI list, he is in position number 13. Tied with Ken Griffey Jr., 1,836.
By the way, you folks at home may be noticing Alex Rodriguez, his right arm is bare. His left arm has that sleeve on it. The reason for that, he was hit by a John Lackey fastball right above the elbow yesterday, and he homered in his next at bat.
Another check on Jeter, who was out stealing back in the first.
Pain and gain. That's what players refer to when you're knocked down or hit, and then the next time up you hit a home run.
Lackey went 5, and the bullpen was good for the Red Sox. These are two teams that can feature in succession 3 power arms in the late innings. And that formula worked yesterday for the Red Sox with Jenks, Bard, and then Papelbon. 2-0, 2-1. Mention the RBI list. And you see where Alex Rodriguez is tied with Ken Griffey Jr. Yaz throughout the first pitch here yesterday. Williams is right in front of him. Al Simmons, Carl Yastrzemski. Here is a 2-1 pitch. Right down the middle, 2-2. Alex will turn 36 in July, and he has 7 years left on his deal, including this season. 616 career home runs. And 3 so far this season after a big spring. Here's a 2-2. Up and away, full count. So the runner will go. And A-Rod, who was recruited Miami to play baseball and football, and who collects and studies art, did not know that, waits for a 3-2 pitch.
Quarterback in high school, his tight end was Doug Minkiewicz, former Major League player.
Here is a 3-2 and another base hit for Rodriguez. On base for the 3rd time in this game, and he, here in the early going in April, looks absolutely locked in.
Boy, those are the 2 words I was going to use, and here comes Terry Francona.
With Cano coming up, Dubront the lefty coming in out of the bullpen, and Buchholz, who's already 0-1, and it was going to be counted on heavily for the Red Sox this season. Pitcher who allowed just 9 home runs all of last year in a 17-win season has allowed 5 so far in 2011. The latest one, Russell Martin, a 3-run shot here in the 4th. It's 5-1 New York. who takes over in the 4th inning for the starter Buchholz, who cannot get through the heart of this lineup in the 4th. Buchholz ends up going 3 2/3, and he's responsible for the 2 guys on. Cano fouls it back, strike 1. The other numbers for Buchholz: 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 8 hits, and he's allowed another home run. So 9 home runs all of last year when he won 17. He allowed 4 in his first start at Texas, 4 solo shots, and now 1 here in this inning. And 1 today. Russell Martin took him out with a 3-run shot after a walk and a double. Here's the 0-1. Strike 2.
Felix Doubront from Venezuela, minor league pitcher of the year for the Red Sox last year, and Terry Francona and Kurt Young, the Red Sox pitching coach, think very, very highly of this young man. A great arm. And he has the ability to pitch left-handers inside. And that's what you need, particularly in the American League East.
He just showed it.
Yeah,
he
right.
got another foul ball off the bat of Cano. The count's 0-2.
You have to impress a left-handed hitter inside if you're a left-handed pitcher. Otherwise, you allow them to dive out over the plate.
And the strikeout after the 2 pitches inside. 3 runs in the inning. 5-1 New York after 3.5. Ball is presented by Budweiser. And in this game, it's 5-1 Yankees as we go into the bottom of the 4th inning. Bottom part of the lineup: J.D. Drew, Jed Lowry, and then Jared Saltalamacchia against Ivan Nova, who has a 4-run lead thanks to that 3-run shot by Russell Martin in the top of this inning. Drew singled his first time, and he takes a strike from Nova. Pitch is down and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. We had a chance to visit with Joe Girardi, manager of the Yankees, who is in his 4th season. Signed an extension. He is locked in through 2013 with New York. I'll play that for you after Drew. He takes a ball down and away, 2-1. JD is coming off his 5th season of 20 or more home runs. He has been a good hitter ever since his days with the Cardinals, and that's foul. 2-2.
For those of you who may not know the history of J.D. Drew, he was signed by the Philadelphia Phillies, or I beg your pardon, drafted by the Phillies in 1996 and elected not to sign. Went back through the draft and signed by the Cardinals, been to Atlanta, Los Angeles, and now with the Red Sox.
And J.D. Drew is hit by the pitch to put him on to start the frame. Caught him on the foot. And here's our visit with Girardi. And the first question was about what he's seeing from Ivan Nova.
You know, he's battled. You know, he's had some situation where there's been some runners on base, and he's been able to get out of it. And he's used his slider and his other pitches effectively.
And Russell Martin is not going to catch 162 games, right?
He asked me the other day. I gave him the day off on Wednesday, but we got rained out. And he said, well, I can catch 162. And I said, you're not going to do that.
But on a different note, I mean, he has to have really impressed you so far this season.
We've been really impressed with his work ethic, how he's went about his business, getting to know our pitchers, his athleticism. And he's stolen bases for us. He's hit a couple big home runs for us. He's done a lot of things for us already, and it's early in the year.
Okay, so we've got, Sprint Cup racing coming up tonight. Who do you have?
I got Hamlin Edwards and Martin Truex.
That's amazing that you can manage a game here at Fenway Park and come up with those names that quickly.
Well, that was done really early in the morning.
How are you doing so far in your pool?
Pretty good. We've had it going on since the Daytona, and spring training we start, and I'm doing okay.
It's
so
not
far.
for money, though, right? It's no real wagering.
This is for fun and
it's
a lot of
fun
pride.
And smiles. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
Here is a 1-1. It floats up and away to Jed Lowry. And now Russell Martin is going to go out and talk to Ivan Nova, who hit Drew to start this inning. Tonight, as we talked about, NASCAR on Fox is in Texas. Denny Hamlin, the aforementioned, will try to defend his title and take home his third straight checkered flag at the Texas Motor Speedway. Sprint Cup Series racing begins tonight, live in prime time, with a pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 7 Eastern. Another base hit. Lowry is 2 for 2. Going first to third is Drew, and it's first and third, nobody out. And the Red Sox come roaring back. See if that gets any action going for the Yankees out in their bullpen.
J.D. Drew and Jed Lowry have been on 4 times each through their first 2 times up in this game. Jed Lowry now 2 for 2. Singled over Cano back in the second inning. And now moves J.D. Drew to third base. Good base running by Drew.
Saltalamacchia struck out his first time. Hit .405 during the spring. But so far, he is 3 out of 19 in his first full year with the Red Sox. And a check on Lowry over at first. 5-1 here in the 4th inning. Saltalamacchia could make this packed house and the Red Sox fans in attendance thrilled with something big here in the 4th. That's a strike. Good breaking ball from Nova, strike 1. Ivan, the 24-year-old rookie from the Dominican Republic, and a guy who last year was good his first time through the order. And then as the game wore on, the opposition caught up and figured him out. There's another strike. It's 0-2. Opponents hit .230 against Nova first time through the lineup, then .262 second time, and then up to .400 the third time they saw Nova within 1 start. These guys are now seeing Nova for the second time. Saltalamacchia took strike 3.
3 straight curveballs. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Saltalamacchia from Nova. One of his nicknames is Supernova in the Yankee clubhouse. And he was supernova during that at-bat to Saltalamacchia.
As he strikes him out for the second time. And it brings in Jacoby Ellsbury, who had a big spring. He hit .355. Guy who was on the disabled list 3 times last year, played only 18 games because of fractured ribs. There seemed to be a lot of talk outside of the clubhouse and maybe some grumbling inside, wondering how tough Ellsbury was and how much he wanted to be on the field. Well, he worked his way back into shape. He had a great spring. This guy can do a lot in this lineup when he is right. Pitches outside for a ball.
He had 120 stolen bases in 2 years, 2008 and 2009. 71 year, 50 the next.
Here is a 1-0 pitch. Nova missed the outside corner, 2-0. So now second time almost complete through this lineup for Ivan Nova. Carl Crawford on deck. Red Sox down by 4 here in the 4th. The count 2-0. Jacoby Ellsbury took on the inside corner a generous strike. It's 2-1. Leadoff man Drew was hit by a pitch. Base hit by Lowry, who's 2 for 2. Saltalamacchia struck out looking. Here comes pitch number 65 on 2-1. Ground ball to short. Out there and no throw, and Cano may have hurt himself. He grabbed at his back, or he just couldn't get the ball out of his glove, and a run scores.
I think that was it, Joe.
That's a missed opportunity for the Yankees to turn a double play.
You don't see this that often for Cano to misgrip a ball.
Yeah.
But you could see, looked like a pitcher ready to throw a changeup. Yep. He misgripped that ball, and the chance for the double play elusive, and now you not only score a run if you're the Red Sox, but you've got speed on at first base, speed at the plate.
Right after that play, Cano put his glove up against his back and gave a little stretch, but reading too much into it. And it was a case of a guy not being able to get a grip on the baseball, getting it out of his glove, and what could have been an inning-ending double play. Instead, a run scores. Runner at first is Ellsbury, 2 out. And it's a strike to Carl Crawford, who's 0 for 2. Here's a spot where Ellsbury will think about taking off. As Tim mentioned, 70 stolen bases 2 years ago. Stays put. Ball 1. It's a 3-run game, 5-2, as Drew scored on that force out at second base. Crawford waits for a 1-1 pitch. Instead, Nova steps off. Talk about that combination of power and speed that any athlete wants. Doesn't really matter the sport. Certainly in football, but in baseball it seems more rare. Crawford has it. Here's a 1-1. Fouled back. Carl Crawford is one of just 5 players since 1946 to have 400 plus stolen bases, over 100 home runs, and for good measure he's hit over 100 triples. So he can pop it out of the ballpark. He can get on and make things happen with his legs. So far he's waiting for it to click. 4 for 30 at the plate in his first days for the Red Sox. Here comes a 1-2. And another foul.
A lot has been made of the fact that Carl is leading off for the second day in a row. He led off only one time for the Rays last year, one time the year before that, and 7 in 2008. So only 9 times over the last 3 years has Carl led off. I think too much is made of whether a guy's going to lead off, hit second, or hit sixth. Terry Francona saying as much during our meeting with him before the game.
There goes Ellsbury and a base hit into center field. Ellsbury heads to third, and Crawford is on for the first time with a base hit here in this game.
And Carl gets a break, a real break right there. Because had Derek Jeter not been covering, that's a line drive to end the inning. But with Ellsbury going, Jeter covering the bag, that opens the slot at shortstop. Here it is right here. Ellsbury taking off, Jeter covering, line drive to the vacated shortstop position. And that's why the Red Sox are still batting here in the fourth.
If we get a chance, I want to go down and check in with Ken Rosenthal about what Ivan Nova told both you and Kenny yesterday about having to get through a batting order the second time, the third time. But right now it's Pedroia. Tying run at the plate. He homered yesterday. Ball one outside. Kenny, what'd he say?
Well, we talked about his brothers earlier, his 4 brothers in the Dominican, and how they've instilled a lot of confidence in him. Well, Nova said last year when he was having trouble getting through the fourth, the brothers basically said, listen, it's all in your mind. Just trust yourself and get it done.
He's in a spot here, a count of 1-0. Pedroia, first and third. Hits it in the air to center. Back is Granderson off the wall. Ellsbury scores. Crawford easily. It's a 2-run double and a 1-run game.
That missed grip and that missed play at second base is worth 3 runs for the Red Sox right now. The fact that Cano could not grip the ball to complete the double play on the ball Ellsbury hit, and now Dustin Pedroia takes advantage of that. So 3 runs. They're not unearned runs. They're earned, but in a sense, they could be unearned runs because a double play that would normally be turned by Cano was not.
When we talked to Terry Francona before the game, he marveled at Dustin Pedroia's ability at 5'8", 165 to keep the barrel of the bat in the strike zone as long as he does. He hits everything, can hit it anywhere. And that time he took one into straightaway center field for a 2-out, 2-run double.
Terry Francona says you stand behind the mound while he's hitting around second base. You don't know how he does it, but he gets the job done.
Adrian Gonzalez fouls the first pitch back, strike one.
We talked about the quick hands of his counterpart, Robinson Cano. Well, with Pedroia, he has a very unorthodox swing. You don't think he has that much power, but he does, as he just proved.
Gonzalez is hitless today, and all of a sudden, the Red Sox have the tying run at second base with 2 out. And Adrian Gonzalez, who was walked and grounded out, drove home 101 runs last year with San Diego. Hit 40 home runs a year before with the Padres. Waits. The 1-1. In the air to center, should end the inning. Red Sox come right back. Each side gets 3. They go to the 5th. 5-4 Yankees here at Fenway. moves into the 5th inning, a 1-run affair, 5-4. The Yankees' 7, 8, 9 hitters have been productive, with that home run belonging to the number 9 man, Russell Martin. Pedroia has been terrific in this series for Boston. And there are the numbers with runners in scoring position so far today. 5-4 is the score as we go to the 5th. And Nick Swisher is first up. Nick has an RBI ground out, and he's flied out. Dubront hits the outside corner with a strike. Dubront is a guy that I think in a lot of organizations would be talked about a lot because of his ability. This Red Sox system is so packed, it appears, with prospects. He's one of many. This is a well-stocked farm system for Theo Epstein.
And the prize is probably the 21-year-old shortstop in Pawtucket right now, Jose Iglesias. Born in Cuba. And everybody in the Red Sox very, very excited whenever he is ready to come up.
Had a broken hand last year. Here's a line drive. Looked like it went through the glove of Euclid and into left.
It did. It looked like it went through the glove.
Either off the edge of it or through it. He's not looking at it, so let's take a look. Just off the edge. And a base hit for Swisher, I assume. That was a rocket. And it is a hit for Nick, his first of the day. So Dubront, who struck out Cano to end the top of the 4th inning with 2 on, gives up the leadoff base hit. The batter is Granderson, who has walked twice. Curtis scored his last time on that 3-run home run by Martin. Strike 1. We talked last week about that man cave, fan cave that's in New York City. Nick Swisher on Wednesday got a chance to visit it. And we'll show you footage of that when we get a chance to here with Granderson at the plate. That's on the outside corner. And strike 2.
You've heard of pitchers who employ the slide step. Well, with Felix Dubront, it's very natural for him to keep his leg close to the ground as he throws home. It's not intentional. It's just his natural movement of the right leg.
That is blocked by Salt Talamacchia, ball 1.
That was a good shot right there by Bill Webb, our director, of Felix Dubront coming home. The guys who have the high leg kick, obviously, because of that, they're easier to run on than a guy like Dubront, who is facing first base and does not pick his leg up very high off the ground.
Swisher is the runner over there. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. A little tight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rob Thompson, the third base coach, goes through the signs for the Yankees. Granderson was looking down in that direction, as was Swisher over at first. And here comes a 2-2. Full count. And Granderson, who was set up at 0-2, is trying to fight his way on for the 3rd time today.
I don't think Swisher will be running here because Granderson strikes out a lot. He's not an effective hitter, that effective against left-handed pitching. Swisher not really a stolen base guy.
And that's ripped into right. And gone. A 2-run home run for Curtis Granderson. And the second home run hit today for New York as they now lead by 3. That ball was smoked.
What a great at bat by Curtis Granderson with the count 0-2. He runs the count to 3-2. And both home runs so far for Granderson this year have been off left-handers. The first on opening day against Phil Coke had put the Yankees ahead to stay. The Yankees winning that game, and then the second game of the year, and then today a home run against Dubron.
Yankees come into this game with a record of 4-3. The Red Sox 1-6. Both teams trailing the Orioles in the AL East. Here's a 1-0 to Chavez, and a little flare might drop. Chavez is 3 for 3. So 3 for 3 is Eric Chavez, and Russell Martin, who homered his last time up, walks to the plate. We'll see if that starts any action for the Red Sox out in their pen at the moment. No. Yankees have the highest percentage in baseball of runs scoring via the home run. 65% of all their runs have scored so far this season on round trippers. And they have hit 16 on the year. There's a strike. A Yankee team that hit 13 of those 16 home runs through the first 5 games, and that tied a franchise record that had been set in 1932.
That's a surprise, too, wasn't it?
Here's an 0-1.
You know, they're called the Bronx Bombers for a reason. And to set a team record of home runs in the first 5 games without the power of the power-laden teams back in 27 or 1932 when the Yankees beat the Chicago Cubs in the World Series.
Here's an 0-2. Just missed. Well, Mark Teixeira has been a big part of that. With 4 home runs among his 6 hits. Alex Rodriguez has popped 3. Anderson just hit his second, and the guy at the plate has 2. And the count's still 1-2. Just in the 5th inning. And these are 2 teams that, when you come in, you expect long afternoons at the park.
Not too many 2-1 games between these 2 teams.
Since 2004, the year the Red Sox won it all. And these 2 teams meet. They average 3 hours, 22 minutes in length of game, by far the longest. It's a pitch up and away, and the count 2-2.
That grueling Game 3 of the American League Championship Series back in 2004. A game in which in 9 innings the Yankees scored 19 runs, and you and I both said more balls were hit hard in that game than any 9-inning game that we have ever seen by one team. And the Red Sox, what do? Come back and sweep the Yankees, winning 4 in a row to win the American League pennant, and then did the same thing to the Cardinals.
And from that 04 ALCS, these are the few who remain, including Tim Wakefield, who joined the Red Sox in '95. Ortiz, Veritek, Youkilis. The other side, Rivera, Posada, A-Rod, and Jeter. It brought up a point that Tyler Kempner of the New York Times wrote about this week. Here's a 2-2, over but low. He talked about the start of the Red Sox and everybody writing that no team that got off to an 0-4 start had won the World Series. He said, yeah, but remember, no team in baseball had ever come back down 3-0 in a playoff series to win, which is exactly what the Red Sox did to the Yankees back in 04. Here is a 3-2. Martin into right. J.D. Drew is there. 2 out. And get out number 1 as the first 3 have reached. And we go for a direct TV game break. Here's Chris Rhodes.
All right, Joe. Russell Martin, a 3-run shot. Yankees catcher earlier. This is Chooch. Carlos Ruiz is a pinch hitter. His first career grand slam. The starting catcher, Brian Schneider's also gone deep. It's 8-2 Phillies in the 7th. Remember to see every baseball game. Most in HD. It's 1-800-DIRECTV. And Tim, I got to imagine you're smiling. 2 catchers going deep on the same team.
That is unusual. Happy Philly fans right now.
1 on, 1 out. And Gardner flips one into left for Crawford. That's out number 2.
Back one of our games next week. Not the Philadelphia Phillies, but we'll be down in Atlanta to see the Atlanta Braves host the New York Mets.
So they're pounding home runs in the game today. And if the Philadelphia Phillies hit to go with that pitching, I know Atlanta's good.
Yeah.
I know the Marlins could surprise, but I don't see how there's any way if the Phillies hit, which they're doing right now without Utley, that they can be defeated in the NL East. Not with that pitching.
No.
There's a strike from Dubron. Start the day 5-2. First place in the NL East. Halladay just shut down the Mets. Roy Oswalt today, there are his numbers, and Ryan Howard, who when we last saw him did not have an RBI in that NLCS, is off to a good start. Dubron misses to Jeter in the count 1-1.
Do the Phillies have weaknesses? Well, of course they do. They're not getting Brad Lidge back until he's their closer. He's not coming back until the All-Star break. Most recent news. Their bullpen is not very strong, but their bullpen doesn't need to be that strong because their starters pitch so deeply into the games.
1 on, 2 out. 2 runs are home, and Jeter takes up and away. Kenny, what's going on with Chase Utley?
Well, Joe, I spoke with Phillies GM Ruben Amaro Jr. this week, and he said he doesn't know when Chase Utley is coming back, but he is confident that Utley will play for the Phillies this season.
He's not running yet. He is more stationary as he tries to get over that knee injury, but he and the Phillies have both got to be worried. Here comes a 2-1. Up and away, a 3-ball, 1-strike count on Jeter. Runner at first is Chavez. He blooped a hit into right after the 2-run shot by Granderson. We need to have a discussion on the sudden retirement of Manny Ramirez before the end of this game.
Oh, we will.
Okay. Here's a 3-1. And a strike, full count. Eight times a Red Sox pitcher has gone to a full count against the Yankees, who are notorious for being selective and making the opposition work on the mound. Aceves, former Yankee, gets loose. Runner will go. That's Chavez. And the count full on Derek Jeter, who's 1 for 2. And a jam shot to Pedroia to end the inning. 2-run home run by Granderson. It looked a lot like this. And it's a 3-run lead for the Yankees halfway through it on a Saturday at Fenway. By Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. We go to the bottom of the fifth inning on this great day at this great park. Fenway Park that opened in 1912. As Euclid takes a strike from Nova. When the Red Sox play here at home, you expect a tough ticket. And you expect fans that are jammed into these seats at a ballpark that they have just continued to try and squeeze the most out of. Done a brilliant job adding little pieces into every nook and cranny here at Fenway. Here is a shot into left. And Euclid will hold with a solid, ripped leadoff single.
Good play by Gardner, the left fielder, playing that ball off the wall and getting it back quickly to hold Euclid to a single.
It'll bring in Ortiz. And Ortiz is hitless on the day, 0 for 2. Keep peeking down to that Yankee bullpen, and now here they go. Nova gave up 3 runs last inning. He's allowed 4 runs and 6 hits. Strike 1.
Unless this game goes to extra innings, the only guy unavailable for the Yankees, Bartolo Colon, who worked 4 1/3 innings yesterday. He got the loss. David Robertson is now up and throwing. It's a funny thing about baseball. It can be so unfair at times. You could make a case that Bartolo Colon pitched better than anybody in yesterday's game, and he's the losing pitcher.
He did take a load off the bullpen.
Yeah.
As Phil Hughes went only 2. That's a pitch up and away. Lackey was the winner. He went 5. Colon the loser, and Papelbon got save number 1 after getting the ball from Josh Bard, who took it from Bobby Jenks. With a Seves mixed in there in the 6th. That's outside. 2-1 on Ortiz, who's fly to left, grounded out. More at bats this spring for David Ortiz, and it's paid off. With a better start to the season, he looks much better than a year ago at this time as he rips one foul. That's 60 at bats during spring training. So instead of easing into it, he worked to try and get ready. And his 2 home runs so far came over the first 2 games. Counts 2-2. And now Nova goes through this lineup for the 3rd time. That's just flipped into right. Easy for Swisher, 1 on, 1 out. Batter will be J.D. Drew. 99 years ago today, first baseball game was played at Fenway Park. And then they opened up against the New York Highlanders and won 7-6 in 11 innings. As Fenway Park opened, but it was not the biggest news of the day as the reports of the sinking of the Titanic dominated the newspapers as a pitch misses inside from Nova to J.D. Drew, who's been on base twice.
We've seen old photographs of that front page of the Boston Globe then where the Titanic dominated, of course, dominated the headlines, and down in the right-hand corner the news about the new ballpark, Fenway Park, opening.
And here comes Larry Rothschild. And they have been undergoing 10 years worth of improvements here at Fenway. They've repaired some of the concrete and waterproofing the left field seating bowl. Talked about the concourses being redone behind home plate, the concession stands, the restrooms, and then the 3 HD screens out in the outfield. Yesterday, evidently, the showers were not working in the Yankee locker room yet. So they had to just change and go back to the hotel. a little worn out.
That's like the old Winter League rules. Change and shower in your hotel room.
J.D. Drew gets back in as Rothschild came out for a quick visit. The count's 2-0. 1 on, 1 out. And Drew takes ball 3. Nova is pitching his way into a situation where he can't get the win if he can't get through this 5th. Here is a 3-0. 2 on, 1 out. And that's walk number 3. And we'll see if that's it, or if Jed Lowry, who's 2 for 2, will face the Yankee starter. That is it. So Nova is gone. Robertson is coming in as the Yankees have to dip into their bullpen here in the 5th. Who is knocked out here in the 5th inning. Jed Lowry will step in with 2 on and only 1 out, representing a situation for the Red Sox where they're now down at the bottom of their lineup in a 3-run game. Tying run is up. Saltalamacchia will follow, and Lowry, who's getting the start, 2 for 2 today, is up in a key spot. Ball 1 low from Robertson.
Joe Girardi telling us before the game, not lamenting the fact that they have only 1 left-hander. He said, look, we've got 4 guys in the bullpen who get left-handed hitters out very well, and they're all right-handed.
Here's a 1-0. 2-0.
David Robinson, Jabba Chamberlain, Rafael Soriano, and, of course, the incomparable Mariano Rivera.
Lowry's got a little pop in his bat, and he's got the count in his favor here. 2-0. There's a strike, and a good pitch over the outside part at 91 miles per hour from Robertson. Freddie Garcia is available and in the bullpen for the Yankees in this game. Colon is off the list, as Girardi has to go to the bullpen in the 5th. There's another strike, and it's 2-2. On deck, the Red Sox catcher. And that misses a full count. Robertson at times come out of the bullpen and have difficulty throwing strikes. Saw that last year. It was 2-0, now it's 3-2. And a foul keeps it right there. 1 out in the inning. Runners on at first and second. A hit by Euclid started this frame. And after Ortiz flied to right, a 4-pitch walk to J.D. Drew knocked out the starter Ivan Nova. Good rip and a foul straight back.
Good rip at a predictable pitch, a fastball. Robinson not in a situation to throw anything other than that pitch. So you as a hitter know you're going to get the fastball. You just don't know where the location's going to be. Will it be up? Will it be down, in, or out?
Three-two. Got him looking. 2 out. And Robertson battles back to get a big strikeout for New York.
Right down the pipe. And Lowry knew it.
And so 2 on, 2 out. And the batter will be Saltalamacchia, who with 2 on and nobody out in his last at bat in the 4th inning struck out looking. And he's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Trying to come up with something to excite this sold out crowd at Fenway. Tying run at the plate. And fooled on the pitch, strike 1.
Good breaking ball from Robinson. In fact, Saltalamacchia has been fed a steady diet of breaking balls by first Nova and now Robinson.
Robinson taking over here in this 5th. David's next is hit to first. And Teixeira makes the play. Red Sox put 2 on, lead 2, have stranded 7 after 5, 7 for New York. Budweiser is sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball across the country, and by Men's Rogaine Foam. Use it or lose it. And now it's Alfredo Aceves, who was with the Yankees and now in his first season with the Red Sox. Signed by Boston in February. And there's our buddy Kevin Millar.
That's Kev.
Who is like a politician, kissing babies.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Shaking hands. And obviously knows the right people here with seats like that. I did a game last year with him.
I remember that, yeah.
Actually, I did 2. And I have never walked through a clubhouse with a guy that was more popular with players today, because he's played with so many who are still in the game, and he is one of those guys that crosses a lot of barriers in a clubhouse and was very valuable to that 2004 World Championship team. Here is Teixeira with a wow, what a play for the out. Pedroia takes a hit away with a diving stop to his left.
Takes a hit away and takes your breath away with this play. In between hop, the dive to get to Teixeira. He did it so quickly. What a jump. Crowd reliving that moment.
Wow.
That was a good one.
That thing was behind him.
Yeah.
And now Rodriguez, who's been on base 3 times with 2 hits, and he's reached on an error. Alex has his average at 346, and he leans back from a breaking ball called strike 1. Rodriguez now, Cano next in a 3-run game, 7-4 New York. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Alfredo Aceves, Yankee fans remember him 2 years ago. 10 relief wins in the American League for the Yankees. That was the most in the major leagues. This guy can pitch.
Here is a 2-1. Below the knees, 3-1. It was a 9-6 final yesterday. A lot of runs, a lot of base runners here today, 7-4 New York. And a pop-up on the infield. Lowry. 2 out. Well, it's not too late to play fantasy baseball at foxsports.com/fantasy. As always, Fox Fantasy Baseball is 100% free. Expert advice, draft kits, free live scoring, and much more. You can play today at foxsports.com/fantasy. Here is Cano. And even though he's here at the ballpark with his little bow tie on, with his mic at the ready, Ken Rosenthal is always working with his ear to the ground, finding new bits of information around Major League Baseball. And after this first pitch, we hear from Ken. What's up, Ken?
Joe, the Yankees have added to their group of veteran starting pitching possibilities. They signed Carlos Silva to a minor league deal. He's going to report to Tampa on Wednesday. Now, if obviously he comes and joins the Yankees, the Cubs are still responsible, actually regardless of what happens, they're still responsible for the vast majority of that $11.5 million salary. The Yankees would only have to pay the prorated portion of the minimum salary.
Silva was the player that the Cubs got when they unloaded Milton Bradley. Up to Seattle. Here's a shot. Ooh, deep right and gone.
Wow.
A solo shot by Robinson Cano to make it 8-4 here in the 6th. And 3 more Fenway Park hits for the tremendous Yankees second baseman.
We talked about his lightning quick hands and his freedom with which he swings it through the strike zone. A blur of the bat for a home run by Cano.
And it's a 4-run game here in the 6th inning. Here is Swisher. Ball one outside. The starter, Clay Buchholz, went 3 2/3. Dubron went an inning and a third. And now Aceves gives up that 2-out home run. Counts 2-0 on Swisher. Reno, and here are those lightning quick hands. Three balls, no strikes on Nick Swisher with 2 out, nobody on, and a run home and a walk. A 2-out walk to keep the inning alive for Curtis Granderson. Granderson went deep his last time up. He's walked twice. He's scored twice. And he deals with Aceves. With 2 out. A strike at the knees. Granderson last year, in his first year with the Yankees, hit 24 home runs. Getting to face a right-hander here. He takes inside, a ball and a strike.
Boy, Joe Girardi's got to love the bottom part of the order today. Talking about bottom heavy. 2-run home run by Granderson. 2 walks, 2 runs scored. Eric Chavez, a very, very impressive start. Russell Martin, a 3-run home run. That's the last 3 hitters, 7, 8, and 9.
Here's a 1-1. In at the knees, strike 2. This is game number 2 of 18 this season between the Yankees and the Red Sox. They split 18 last year. Here's a 1-2. And a strikeout ends the inning. Home run by Cano. It's 8-4. Fox Saturday Baseball is presented by Budweiser. As we go into the bottom of the 6th inning here at Fenway Park, it's now 8-4 as the Yankees have pounded out 3 home runs. Russell Martin, Curtis Granderson, Robinson Cano. And here is Jacoby Ellsbury, the number 9 hitter, facing David Robertson, who came on to finish off the 5th with 2 on, 1 out. He struck out Lowry and got Saltalamacchia, and starts Ellsbury with a strike. And after backing up, Teixeira makes the play, 1 out. This May, Fox Sports will bring you some of baseball's best teams and the sport's biggest stars. A special 3-week primetime event you do not want to miss. Fox Saturday Baseball in prime time begins May 14th at High Def, only on Fox. We were talking about the sudden retirement of Manny Ramirez, which was announced yesterday as a pitch is in for a strike to Carl Crawford. Manny was informed by Major League Baseball of an issue with their drug policy. He was busted for performance-enhancing drugs while he was with the Dodgers back in '09. Good play by Jeter, 2 out. He served a 50-game suspension back then. He was facing a 100-game suspension for a second violation, as reported by the New York Times. And instead of dealing with all that, he just hung it up.
Manny Ramirez, I think, exemplifies what happens when an unconventional player or unconventional person in any regard about their job turns into an irresponsible player. And I think that's what happened, and I think it started right here with the Red Sox. The disgraceful treatment 3 years ago when he leveled the traveling secretary, Jack McDonald, for not getting 16 tickets in Tampa.
Here's a fly ball into center. Granderson back.
We'll have a chance to talk about it next inning.
And a 1-2-3 inning for Robertson here in the 6th. Let's go to the 7th. 8-4 New York. Back after this from your local Fox station. And Alfredo Aceves, who worked in the 6th, allowed the home run by Cano. Misses outside with a ball to Eric Chavez. Chavez has had a great day. 2 doubles, a single, 3 for 3. And he takes outside for ball 2. Jabba Chamberlain starts to get loose for the Yankees as now the Yankees want to show the Red Sox what the Red Sox showed the Yankees yesterday. Their power arms at the back end of their bullpen. There's a strike and it's 2-1.
I was talking the last half inning about Manny Ramirez leveling Jack McCormick. I said McDonald's, Jack McCormick, who is the traveling secretary of the Red Sox. Then he almost held the Red Sox organization hostage by refusing to play, saying he had knee problems. They sent him to the hospital. 2 MRIs proved both knees were healthy.
Here's one into right. Back to grab it as J.D. Drew, 1 out.
And then the Manny Wood in Los Angeles, 2 months of probably the greatest 2 months of hitting in the last 50 years by any hitter. And then showing up last spring saying, I won't be with the Dodgers next year. But I think it was an unconventional career that turned into the epitome of irresponsibility.
Batter now is Russell Martin, who has a 3-run home run in this game. And he takes inside for a ball. Manny Ramirez will walk away from this game. In 18-plus seasons, it started in Cleveland. Big years in Boston. Tim talked about the last few. 555 career home runs. Ken Rosenthal is a voter in the Hall of Fame process. Do you think he is a Hall of Famer with what we know with performance-enhancing drug use?
Well, Joe, it's going to be really difficult. And right now, for me, the answer is no.
Here is a shot to left and another home run off the bat of Russell Martin. He is 2 for 4 with a pair of home runs. And in his first series here at Fenway as a Yankee, he is making the most of the big stage. It's now 9-4 here in the 7th.
What an impressive performance by Russell Martin. And what a strong presence in that number 9 hole for Joe Girardi and the Yankees.
And the batter will be Brett Gardner, who is 0 for 4. And just 5 of 25 for the season. Get back to Ken Rosenthal about the Hall of Fame for Manny Ramirez. You were saying, Ken.
I was saying, Joe, that I have not voted for any admitted or confirmed user. I've not voted for McGuire. I've not voted for Palmeiro. And Manny, of course, now is a confirmed user. The problem with this is that it's so hard to know who did what, and it's so hard to know exactly how you should go about this. And my concern here now is that we're wiping out an entire generation of players from the Hall of Fame. And I'm not sure that's what the fans want. I'm not sure that's what the correct decision is by the voters. And again, it's a really difficult thing. I wrote a column in December saying that I used to love voting for the Hall of Fame, and now I sort of hate it.
Well, I'll tell you this. As it stands right now, the answer to the question is no. Will Manny Ramirez be in the Hall of Fame the way the voting is going? Now, that may change as time goes on and voters look back on the steroid era. But to forget about the career of McGuire and Palmeiro and other guys who, as Ken said, have gone through these same things. McGuire is an admitted user. Alex Rodriguez admitted use. Third baseman for the New York Yankees in his days with the Texas Rangers. As it stands right now, I think the answer to the question is no. Here's a 3-1 pitch and a chopper to the right side. Pedroia makes the play, 2 out. And the bases are empty with Jeter coming up. But make no mistake, it's the same thing that was said about, and has always been said about Barry Bonds and his natural ability. Manny Ramirez was one of the best right-handed hitters that certainly that I've ever seen, with his ability with a bat in his hand standing at home plate.
As Terry Francona said about 3 years ago, that's why we paid him the money, because he was that good a hitter. There's no question about his talent. There's no question about his numbers. The question surrounds everything else, and I mean everything else.
2 out, nobody on, a run is in. Jeter takes a strike. Derek walked and was out stealing in the first. Fly to right, singled, then grounded out. 1 for 3 on the day. 67 hits away from 3,000 in his career. He's already the all-time hit leader for the Yankee organization. No Yankee has joined that club. And he first came up in '95, Rookie of the Year in '96. And he's got 5 rings, part of that trio of teammates who have been together for 17 straight years. Longest streak of any of the 4 major sports in North America. Posada and Rivera, the other 2. Jeter went. And the count 1-2.
They've gone from the Fab Four to the terrific trio.
Yeah, the Core Four.
The Core Four, yeah.
To the Key 3.
I was trying to add a little Beatles memory
sorry,
to that.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rain on your parade over there.
Andy Pettitte, of course, the 4th member of the Core Four.
There's a check swing foul to keep it 1-2. There's a guy, and how often can you say it? Maybe never. But there's a guy who is the best at what he does in the history of this game.
No argument here or anywhere else. Use the word incomparable, and that doesn't even seem to cover it.
A strikeout ends the inning, and it's time to stretch. A home run by Russell Martin, his 2nd of the day. And it's 9-4 New York as we go to the bottom of the 7th. We're sponsored by Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Keep your edge by the new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And by Majestic Athletic, the official uniform of Major League Baseball. Robertson did a nice job while he was in there, an inning and 2/3, 1 strikeout. And now Jabba Chamberlain. And Jabba Chamberlain is part of that 3-man succession out of the bullpen when the Yankees are leading. It is a 5-run game, 9-4. But in tighter games, and the formula has worked 3 times this season for New York, Chamberlain, Rafael Soriano, and then Mariano Rivera to close out wins. It did not work in the game pitched by Sabathia. Game 2 of the Minnesota Twins series on Tuesday night at Yankee Stadium. And a lot was made as Adrian Gonzalez takes a strike. Joe Girardi going to Rafael Soriano up 4-0 with Sabathia over 100 pitches, having retired 17 straight. Problem was Soriano walked 3 and ended up giving up the lead, a game that the Twins won in the 10th inning against Boone Logan. 2 quick strikes on Gonzalez, and now a ground ball to second. 1 away. Batter will be Youkilis, but we stay with Adrian Gonzalez. In his career timeline, he was drafted #1 overall by the Marlins in 2000. Traded to the Rangers, blossomed with the Padres from Mexico just across the border, and traded to the Red Sox for 4 young players after a 3-time All-Star and 2-time Gold Glove Award winner with San Diego. Here is Youkilis, and a good fastball for a strike from Chamberlain.
And the interesting thing is Adrian Gonzalez has yet to sign a contract with the Boston Red Sox, but they expect to have it done probably in the next month or so.
Youkilis is 1 for 3 with an RBI groundout. And it seems like the announcement of a new deal with Gonzalez, Ken Rosenthal, is just around the corner.
It is, Joe, and they delayed this for 2 reasons. One, because of his right shoulder surgery. They just wanted to make sure he was okay. And 2, once they have that 7-year, $154 million extension done and in place, if it is announced after opening day, as it obviously will be, then it doesn't count against the luxury tax for this year. And that's a huge consideration.
You hear people talk about Pujols, and some wondered if maybe they were dragging their feet, wondering if Albert Pujols got onto the open market this coming offseason, if they would be interested in the services of the Cardinal first baseman. I think the indication from all parts of the Red Sox organization is no. Here's a pitch over but low to Youkilis, ball 3.
But 27 or 28 other clubs other than the Cardinals, maybe the Yankees, of course, because they have Teixeira. There will be a few that pass.
Here's a strikeout for out number 2 in the 7th. Youkilis goes down. He's 1 for 4. Yeah, there'll be a lot of teams that'll want him. There'll be a couple that could theoretically afford him. Cubs are on that list in my mind. The Angels, the Mets, if they have new ownership, or if something drastic happens there. The Dodgers, if that ownership situation gets straightened out.
To me, Joe, you said it last week. I think the Cubs are right at the top of the market. That would be one of the great coups. The rivalry they have with the St. Louis Cardinals, by signing a guy with the stature of Pujols, will cover up for a lot of mistakes that the Cubs have made over the last decade.
First pitch is a ball to David Ortiz, who is hitless in this game, 0 for 3. And now ball 2. That said, it is Albert Pujols' wish to come back to the Cardinals. It is a Cardinals' wish to keep him there. The question is whether they can agree to length of contract and salary per year.
Yeah, wishes aren't dollars, are they?
Here's a 2-0. On the outside corner, 2-1. You think about where Jabba Chamberlain has been over the last couple of years and how his situation has changed. He came up, he was unhittable. Then they toyed with the idea and put him in the starting rotation. That didn't work. Back to the bullpen, he was less effective than he was when he first came up. You think about the money the Yankees spent, $35 million on Rafael Soriano to set up Mariano Rivera. And the fact that they were even toying with the idea of bringing Carl Pavano back into a Yankee uniform. It never progressed more to a conversation of more than 1 year in a deal. But after 4 frustrating years, with Pavano in a Yankee uniform. They talked about it at least. And Chamberlain has kind of been floating around in between all of that. But here he is, and he looks to be in better condition pitching stuff-wise, although he came to camp looking bigger than the way he ended the season last year. But his stuff looks a little better here early in 2011.
Tim Wakefield warming for the Red Sox. I don't think there's any question about it, and I think a lot of that has to do with Joe Girardi's decision that, Jabba, you're my 7th inning guy. I know that sounds a little strange, but it's not that he's not going to come in the 6th or the 8th or something like that if they have an injury to Soriano, or from a Yankee standpoint, God forbid, Mariano Rivera. But Jabba, for the most part, is their 7th inning guy, and he knows he's going to be there. And I know the Yankees downplay that, but the confusion led to his ineffectiveness over the last 2 or 3 years.
3-2 and a strikeout. A 1-2-3-7 for Jabba Chamberlain. Into the 8th inning we go. 9-4 New York. Is a movie that will bring the world to its feet this Friday. Talked about Trudy Buck. Natalie Buck is also excited to see that movie. I got texted, "Thanks, Dad, for reminding and saying my name." So there you go. I made one of the most egregious mistakes you can make. 1-1 the count is Tim Wakefield, who takes over. Deals with the heart of the order. And Wakefield, who is just a great story, misses inside with that knuckleball as we start the 8th inning in a 9-4 game with the Yankees on top. Has a new book out, his only book out, called Knuckler. There's a strike. A guy who joined this organization in 1995. He's made more starts and pitched more innings than any pitcher in Red Sox history. Got 179 wins, which is just 13 fewer than Cy Young and Roger Clemens, who lead the organization through their history with 192 victories.
And he is as classy a guy as his longevity implies.
Went to Florida Tech. He was a shortstop, a first baseman in high school, when his dad taught him how to grip a knuckleball. And when his career as a hitter didn't work, he gave pitching and the knuckleball a try, and here he is pitching still in 2011. 1 out as Teixeira flies to center. Bring in Alex Rodriguez. There's a day for Rodriguez, who has 2 singles, reached on an error, and he has scored a run. And that's a ball high. That is back and out of play. And the count, a ball and a strike. The Yankees today have popped 4 home runs. 7 of their 9 runs have been as a result of somebody taking a pitch out of the park. Here's a 1-1. Strike 2. After Rodriguez, it's Cano, who is a triple away from hitting for the cycle. Rodriguez just got a piece. So he has been locked in, but now Alex Rodriguez has to try and figure out how to hit a knuckleball, which he hits off the very end of the bat.
There have been a lot of theories on that, and I think the one that I most adhere to is the one expressed by the late Duke Snyder. Wait as long as you possibly can. Hit it as deep in the batter's box as you can. Some people think that moving up in the batter's box is the best way. But to me, you catch it the same way you hit it.
Rodriguez has hit 7 home runs against Wakefield and just kind of waves at that, gets a piece, and fouls it back, still 2-2. In the face of Alex Rodriguez on that foul ball.
Tells a lot.
And now reaching for it, he pops it up. Pedroia, 2 out. Just for men, spotlight. And it's the home runs. 4 of them. 2 by that guy. Russell Martin, 3-run shot. Granderson with a 2-run shot. Cano, a solo shot. And then Russell Martin again. This is the home runs give the Yankees the edge. You too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard. 2 out, nobody on. Here is Cano. He's had a big day. And he grounds to short. Good work by Wakefield. Down go the Yankees, bottom of the 8th. Red Sox back down by 5. Budweiser is sponsored by Lexus. Escape convention in the radically new Lexus CT Hybrid. And by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. How about in this series? 28 runs total, 40 hits, 6 home runs in 16 plus innings, and in the home run department, the Yankees have 4 of those 6 in this one. Luis Ayala takes over, and in 2 games before this one, no record. He's pitched 3 innings, struck out 1, walked 1. And he deals with J.D. Drew, Jed Lowry, and Saltalamacchia, with the Yankees up 9-4 here in the 8th. Drew has a hit, been hit by a pitch. He's walked. He has scored a run. Strike 1. JD is off to a .333 start, takes a ball.
I'm sure there are people in and around Beantown and part of Red Sox Nation saying, well, first 8 games, the Red Sox may win only 1 game, be 1-7. Do we think that this team had too much talent? I'm sure that it's crossed the minds of a lot of people in New England. I'll tell you, these preseason picks, we do it too, Joe. I mean, I was heavy on Oakland in the preseason, not ignoring Texas, but not thinking Texas was going to get out of the chute. I mean, Texas looks like the best team in baseball by far
ever,
so far.
Maybe ever.
Maybe ever.
A strikeout starts the 8th inning, and J.D. Drew is retired for the first time today. Texas, the American League champs, are 6-0. The Rangers are. They're 3.5 games better than the Angels, who have started out the season 3-4. With 1 out, nobody on, Ayala misses up and away, ball 1. Nelson Cruz hit homers in each of the first 4 games, and these 2 teammates went deep together, each one going out of the yard in the first 3 games as teammates.
Only the 3rd player to do that in Major League history. The other 2, Mark McGwire did it in 1998, the year he broke Roger Maris's record, and Willie Mays did it in 1971.
Here's a foul back. Bill Brown back in the Fox Command Center, who is a huge Orioles fan, is excited about the start of the Baltimore Orioles as they lead in the East with a record of 5-1, and Buck Showalter has been on quite a run since he took over last year. Ayala got out of the way, and Lowry is on base for the 3rd time today. Well, Jed Lowry has made the most of this start, 3 for 4.
Yeah, I think anybody who dismisses Buck Showalter as an average manager has to have second thoughts. He has been successful everywhere he's managed. His 4th major league team.
Orioles got rained out last night. They'll play a doubleheader today as Saltalamacchia stands in. Texas and Baltimore getting together as a pitch misses up and in, ball 1. Ayala pitched at AAA last year with 3 organizations: Dodgers, Rockies, Arizona. Did not have a good record. He's got a good arm, and he was literally the last piece of the puzzle for this bullpen for the Yankees out of spring training. There's a base hit, and it's 2 on, 1 out. Saltalamacchia rockets one into center. And just one more reminder, NASCAR on Fox tonight, Texas. Denny Hamlin tries to defend his title, take home his 3rd straight checkered flag at the Texas Motor Speedway. Coverage of the Sprint Cup Series racing begins tonight, live in prime time. The pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific here on Fox. And now Rafael Soriano gets loose.
See, Larry Rothschild, the first-year pitching coach for the New York Yankees. I was talking to Larry before the game, and I asked him if he had seen Lou Piniella. Lou Piniella, of course, retired as manager of the Chicago Cubs last year. He signed with the San Francisco Giants. And Lou, a real pal of ours, he worked at Fox a couple of seasons in between managerial stints. And Larry said Lou is doing great. He's lost a little weight. Of course, I don't know if you knew that he is a diabetic, and he lost some weight, doing fine, in good health. And,
great.
And it's
good to hear.
Nice to hear that, yeah.
And Quaddy is now the manager with the Chicago Cubs, took over for Lou last year, kept the job. Ellsbury with a big swing and a foul back. With a bigger lead, which is 5 runs, instead of going Chamberlain, Soriano, Rivera, Joe Girardi has called on Luis Ayala. Trying and sneak an inning here. Soriano is getting loose. Pop up into left center. Granderson is there, 2 out. Meanwhile, Soriano, the story with him on Tuesday was not pitching well, with the Yankees up 4-0, taking over for CC Sabathia, and him basically admitting that he has had trouble, the former closer, when he pitches in a quote-unquote non-save situation. And that's something he's going to have to get used to here this year for the Yankees.
Yeah, the baton will be handed to Soriano if he's still with the Yankees when Mariano Rivera retires, but even that's inconceivable.
Here's a high fly ball into right. Swisher staggers but makes the catch to win the inning. 2 hits, 2 left. Red Sox have stranded 9. Into the 9th we go. 9-4 New York. Yankees in the 9th inning with New York up by 5, 9-4. Swisher, then Granderson, then Chavez. Anybody gets on Russell Martin, who has hit 2 home runs. And a knuckleball from Wakefield is in for a strike. Talked about Nick Swisher going to the MLB fan cave in New York City. And he lit up the room like he usually does. Although the fan cave is a rather well-lit room with about 1,600 televisions.
Even though it's a cave, it's a well-lit cave. Yeah.
The 0-2. Somebody's got to get to first, and the answer is Gonzalez. Here's Nick.
Hey everybody, I'm Nick Swisher, and I'm hanging out here at the MLB Fan Cave.
Mike O'Hara was selected to watch every game for the entire season on a bank of 15 big screen TVs. Nick was there Wednesday. 32 floor-to-ceiling windows. Everything going on inside will be visible to fans on the street. So whatever Mike O'Hara has planned for his time in the fan cave will be seen by passers-by. So beware of that, Mike.
And Mike is okay. His health is fine.
He's doing
so far.
It's like David Blaine or something. You pop out with the greatest trick of all time. You can check out their activities on MLBFancave.com. One ball, two strikes. Here's what David Ortiz tweeted about that. I'll read it after the strikeout. 2 out and 5 retired in a row by Wakefield. Hey, have you guys seen the new at MLB Fan Cave? Definitely will be hitting this up when I'm in New York this season. So in the middle of May, if you walk by the MLB Fan Cave, at some point you'll see David Ortiz definitely inside there.
13th, 14th, and 15th, the days that the Boston Red Sox will be in New York the first 3 days.
We'll be there then. That's a prime time game.
Right.
On Saturday.
Right. On the 14th.
Yeah. Would you go to the Fan Cave?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Absolutely. Why not? You got a deal.
Okay. Good. Great. Chopper to the right side, and Wakefield makes the play. And Chavez with a bracing hug on his way to the bat. Bottom of the ninth inning. 9-4 New York. Trainer of the New York Yankees, he was just out on the field checking on the health of Luis Ayala, who says that he's fine more important than that, to those who know him, Gene Monahan is doing fine and is back in the dugout in an everyday capacity. And what a great guy and a valuable piece of this organization for New York.
Boy, I should say, talking to Gino yesterday, he was so proud. He went to the doctor. Of course, he was diagnosed with cancer about a year and a half ago, and went to the doctor most recently, and the doctor said words that he's been wanting to hear. See you in November.
That's great.
Yeah, it really is. And talk about a NASCAR fan. I mean, he's as big a NASCAR fan as Joe Girardi is.
Here is Pedroia, and he takes a strike over the inside corner from Ayala. So Joe Girardi tries to get 2 innings out of Ayala before the finale of this series tomorrow night with Sabathia and Beckett. Good pitch in on the hands. That might fall in for a hit, and it will. Down the right field line, and Pedroia has got his 3rd double of the game. Can't defend every blade of grass out there against Pedroia. He is liable to place it anywhere, as is the guy hitting behind him, Adrian Gonzalez. Who last year was number 1 in Major League Baseball with a .407 average with runners in scoring position. The Red Sox need to get a rally going, down by 5, and a ground ball to Teixeira. Nice play as he stays down on it, 1 out. Tim, the big worry for the Yankees coming into the season was the back end of the rotation. Yesterday, Hughes was, first of all, Hughes isn't considered the back end of the rotation.
Number 3, right?
Yeah, I mean, he won 18 games a year ago. But he's had 2 poor starts. Today, Ivan Nova couldn't get through 5. They're still waiting for the starting debut of Freddie Garcia, who's bounced around. Did win 12 games for the White Sox last year. One answer to those problems for the Yankees is what they did today. Strike 1 on Euclid, and that is just hit the ball out of the park. They lead the major leagues with 18 home runs.
Yeah, they're going to score their share of runs. The Yankees leading all of baseball last year in runs scored, and they're going to score their share of runs. Hughes, I think, is a huge concern. I don't think Nova's a concern. I think Nova's in a lot better position right now to either move up in the rotation. I think because of Hughes' arm strength, that really causes Joe Girardi to be concerned. I mean, yesterday he threw 1 pitch 92 miles an hour, and that was it. Everything, and there were a lot of fastballs in the range of 88, 89 miles an hour, and that is cause for Yankees concern.
And now the count goes to 2-1 as that misses inside to Euclid, who has a hit. Saw Rivera getting loose in case Boston gets something going here in the 9th.
See, if Phil Hughes were throwing 95 miles an hour and missing, that'd be a lot better than throwing 89 or 90 miles an hour and hitting when your fastball is just right. Because that is just meat for major league hitters.
3 balls and a strike now on Euclid, with Ortiz on deck in a 5-run game here in the 9th. Here is a 3-1, and it's 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Ayala worked the 8th. He allowed 2 hits. A leadoff double on a blooper down the right field line by Pedroia in the 9th.
You read body language, Joe, and it looks like Joe Girardi is thinking right now that might think about bringing in Rivera, but he rarely brings in Rivera during an at-bat.
So right now it's Ayala against Ortiz. That's kept at home plate. If Ortiz reaches, Rivera is coming into this game.
Yeah, no question. You've heard of those pitchers who were top step pitchers? Well, Ayala right now is a pitcher who's next to the top step pitcher. What that means for you folks who may not know that, a top step pitcher is a manager who stands on the top step waiting to take out a pitcher at the drop of a hat, and Joe Girardi is close to it right now.
Ortiz is hitless on the day, 0 for 4. First and third with one out here in the ninth. And Ortiz lets it fly, strike one on a foul ball. Meanwhile, the Red Sox on the other side are staring at a 1-7 start. The team that you and I talked about before the season, and I still believe it. I mean, this is a loaded team, but a 1-7 stumble out of the gate is not what anybody expected. That one's up the middle. Cano flips out over to first. Got them both. And that ends the ball game with the Yankees winning at 9-4. Well-turned double play, and with Ortiz running, time for Cano and Jeter to turn it. The Yankees get by this game without having to go to Rivera, and the first two games have been split here at Fenway Park. Here's the final. We'll take a break and come back and wrap it up. Robertson is the winner. Buchholz the loser. Russell Martin with 2 home runs. Back after this.